start off saying we are, we're recording now. So I want to introduce you real quick as Chris YBANEZ.
Yep.
Man, first off, thank you for coming on. Thank you so much for coming on. We met, we were talking about, we kind of get back to what we were talking about before, but I kind of want to introduce you. What fascinates me and the reason I wanted to have you on is number one, I met you in the fitness industry.
Right.
You've been in the fitness industry for a long, long time. You got a new venture going on, but obviously for me, our connection is kind of outside that.
Right.
For me, what fascinates me about you is something that I definitely want to dive into is number one, your military background,
Right.
and then your martial arts background.
Okay.
That stuff really fascinates me because
Right.
a lot of people have obviously asked me, like they would see pictures and you have your Olympic, the thing that was hanging on the wall.
Oh yeah.
And
From
so
the judo center.
Yeah. And so people ask me about that. I'm like, oh no, that's Chris. So I try to explain. So, but to get back what we were talking about just before we came on was here in Tomball.
Right.
I bought this house a year ago, and I mean, apparently the people who lived here, they were kind of like in a it's almost like they were in trouble with their taxes.
Okay.
It was on the tax rolls for a whole lot more than what I paid for it.
Okay.
But with all the shit that was going on, everything else, the house literally went up at least 50% in value since I purchased it.
Oh wow.
So I went from having literally a 5-year plan when I bought this house to build equity in it, build it up, pay it down, and I would owe on it when I go to after 5 years. I would owe about 1/3 left on this house. That way I'd sell it, equity, everything else.
Yeah.
Now I've already hit that mark as far as what I intended to get out of it after 1 year because of the way the market went.
Well, it's because it's insane here in Texas. Everybody wants to move here.
Yeah.
In the Woodlands, it's interesting, man. If you go to, like, if you were in Mexico City, there's a billboard, dude, in the wealthiest area. And again, that place is a bit suspect, given the things that go on with everything else with cartels and so forth.
Yeah.
It's a big poster, like in a big billboard that says Woodlands, Texas.
Yeah.
So they're all moving here.
Yeah.
So it was interesting when I first moved here and I started working for the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So I was teaching trainers to be trainers. But then I also worked for a company called Panga Surf. So I was teaching people how to paddleboard on Lake Woodlands. So you imagine I'm out there 4, 5, 6 hours a day. And so it's in the East Shore area. There's probably $60 to $70 million property sitting right there.
Yeah.
Nobody was ever there. Nobody. So I took the developer out one day, and I didn't know he was the developer. It just so happened to work out that way. It was him, his wife, and his family, and everybody, and I'm sitting there talking to him, and he actually tells me what he does. And I said, man, let me ask you, how come that one right there, and it looked like something out of, what's that place in New York that's real nice? Everybody, the beach. The luxury beach area in New York, like real nice.
Oh,
I'm down south, man.
I was going to go with Trump Tower.
Well, it's where everybody, the Hamptons.
Okay. Yeah.
It legitimately looks like it comes right off the freaking Hamptons.
Gotcha.
Fucking exactly like that. He's like, yeah, nobody lives there. I'm like, what? He said, remember, because again, I just moved here from California.
Yeah.
Right. So I was born in Texas, but military. My dad was a captain, admiral. Like we moved everywhere. So when I moved back here, out of the Coast Guard, after doing the deployments, we'll talk about later. What the developer said is, since we have the Homestead Act, it doesn't matter what your business is.
Yeah.
Can't take it. So if something happens, there's legitimately a $50 to $60 million nest egg. And I'll learn more about that later when I left 2-4, because I had clients that lived in Carlton Woods that were not from here, and just
Yeah.
So
they homesteaded.
That's why everybody's
here.
Everybody wants to come here, and also because we don't have draconian principles that don't let you live your life.
Yeah.
We actually believe in the Constitution.
They actually let you live the way you're supposed to live.
Imagine that one.
Mind your own fucking business, kind of thing.
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, there's a fucking door.
Right.
So that's why they come here. And literally all the ones that came to the house so far, Hispanic internationals. And for me, it was easy because my dad's Spanish. So it's like we just talk.
Your dad, first generation American?
Yes. So my grandfather is from Torlavega, which is a town next to Barcelona.
Okay.
So way up north in the Basque region, right? So they came over, and they actually came in through Mexico too. So they lived in Juarez for the longest time before Juarez was like gangster.
Yeah.
And then it kind of transcended into what it is now.
Yeah.
And so they came through El Paso. My dad lived in El Paso for, God, dude, his whole life almost.
Yeah.
Until he joined the military,
Yeah. And so he joined the Navy, and then Where did he? The Navy kind of took him around, and the next thing you know, you're born.
Then they go and pick me up from the side of the road. Remember, I was adopted.
Yeah.
But, so he went in as an officer. He went to OCS.
Okay.
So he went to UT, right? Got his undergrad, then went to Berkeley of all places, right? He's
wow.
Berkeley, right? Back then.
Yeah.
Berkeley, and got his master's in engineering. Like, and he went through the whole ranking system, worked all the way up. The dude was this close to making admiral. He missed the cutoff because we have cutoffs.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's when I was getting out. I missed this cut. It wouldn't matter. I was already getting out, but I missed the cutoff for like E1 or whatnot.
Uh-huh.
So with that, he missed it for admiral. Like he was the next one because the rank up. So he's like, I'm done. Like it's time for me to get out. It's been 27 years.
Yeah. Say he almost
you
put 30 years in.
Literally triple your income, like that. So it's really interesting because my godfather was the CEO, president, chairman of the board of American Shipping Bureau, ABS, American Bureau of Shipping, so like shipbuilding companies. So it's funny because when I was adopted, I was 18 months old. It was my mother's from Baytown. Never met him, never met my father, never met my mother. At least I can remember and recollect, right? So they were going to put me up for adoption. My grandmother's sister, so that would be I guess we'd just call her my aunt, right? Says, no. My niece is trying to have a baby and they couldn't. That's my mom, my dad. Long story short, they flew in from Portugal, picked me up, put me on a plane, and we went to Portugal right from there, Damn. So my godfather, he was this position in the civilian world. So basically equal to my dad when it comes to the military. But what happened here?
Yeah.
Dude, he's bumping elbows with like the Onassis family.
Yeah.
The dude's worth like,
yeah.
His watch collections. The thing is, my dad saw this. He's like, what the, But he did it because he wanted to obviously serve the country and give back to the things that were given to him.
Sure.
Being an immigrant, they're second generation, man. My grandfather ain't from here. My grandmother is Polish, dude. She went through Holocaust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my great grandparents as well.
Yeah. So we have that history with that, and he just wanted to give back for the things that was given to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I went in when I was like 26. Which I was a late bloomer on that one, dude.
Yeah, so I was gonna say because you didn't go in like right after high school. You went in like mid-20s.
Yeah.
What made you wait that long?
Well, so growing up military, right? We'll say the biggest thing that you can remember is high school.
Yeah.
Right? Easy to say. So I lived in D.C. So I was going to a high school named Lake Braddock. Dude, the school is like 3 miles long. It's unreal big. My dad comes to me one day because I was playing Olympic development program. I was excelling in soccer. I was moving on. I was climbing quick. Right? Because I just played my whole life. I was playing since I was 3 years old in Portugal. So he comes to us. He's like, look, we have an opportunity to go to Spain. And in my head, immature, like I'm like, oh, Spain. Well, why would I not want to go play there? Fuck yeah, let's go. Right. So long story short, we ended up going from Virginia over to Spain. That's when I really was able to kind of see what the military was. Because you don't know any better at 14. I was, Navy SEALs, Army Recon. Everybody's coming out of Rota because that's this base over in Spain. That's a jump off point to go anywhere. Right?
Okay.
Anywhere over there. Because they closed the other one. I forget what the name it was. It was an Air Force base a little up north. They closed it completely. So Rota was the jumping off point for everything. Maritime, everything. Right? So I got to see what this did. Like one of my best friends, his dad was the senior chief for the SEAL team. Crazy as fuck. Crazy, dude. I remember I was on the phone with him one day. Remember, I'm 15, 14 years old. And I'm like, Steve, we're just bullshit on the phone. And all of a sudden I hear, no, dad. So I guess his dad got above him because they drink Bacardi. Like, Richard Marcinko is?
No,
Marcinko? So Richard Marcinko is like SEAL Team 6.
Okay.
Like the original SEAL team. Richard Marcinko was that. He helped to incept SEAL Team.
Okay.
So then he went and started writing all these books, right? All these, not all, but they're a warrior culture, right? It's in your DNA. Like you got something special to be one of those.
Absolutely.
They drink like fish, smoke like. So he would drink, smoke his Marlboro Reds. But anyways, I guess he was coming home and he was sitting above him because after deployment, and my buddy's sitting on the floor talking, and then I hear, no, dad, no, because I guess he kicked him, and the dude just pummeled him, So that was kind of, growing up with all these different MOSs, like you saw everything, dude.
Yeah.
I saw everything. You
Yeah.
know, in a very good light. I was never seeing the negative just because my dad was a captain of the base.
Right. Yeah. You didn't have to see the shit.
I was secluded in a way,
Yeah.
But I was at least able to see.
Yeah.
And I grew up with it my whole life. I didn't know anything else. It's funny here, like with Angel, she's lived in Texas her entire life, dude. Jason, I moved every 3 years. You can fucking drop me in Africa. I'll be fine.
Right.
Because you have to be.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because we went through a lot of this tumultuous period during our time because I was used to moving every 3 years. So something happens, I think, cognitively, it just switches. After 3, I was like, gotta go. We separated twice. Like, gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really strange, dude. So, and it all alludes back to the whole military piece because, again, moving every 3 years, I was conditioned for change. 24, had to do a new job every 1 to 2 years, 1 to 3 years, had to do something different. And with that, when I first moved back here, I was working for, remember I said I was working for NASM.
Yep.
And I was working for Panga, but I also worked for the Woodlands United Methodist Church. I was a part of their recreation ministry, right? So I have a pretty, I consider myself a pretty spiritual guy on that part, right? Not religious, but spiritual. In working with them, my pastor asked me one day, he goes, do you think you have trouble developing strong relationships, like immediate relationships with people? Not immediate, but like long-term, like you're going to stay with it because you moved every 3 years. I was like, damn, dude. And if I think about it, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because I don't, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm open, I'm very extroverted.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm loud and enthusiastic and I just talk a lot. But at the same time, it's not like I get incredibly close to people. You know, it's not that it's a superficial defense mechanism. It's just you've never, like Angel's known her high school sweetheart, who they dated the whole high school, is literally one of the guys that I went to when I first tore my Achilles.
Yeah,
he's a surgeon at Woodlands Sports Medicine, which I know the owner and all those guys over there. And you know, so they grew up. I don't have that, so it was really interesting to see. She grew up, never left. Had these friendships. Then my pastor tells me all this, and then I see this with her. Then every 3 years, I'm like, oh, gotta go. Finally, I'm over that. Thank God, because we can do much more of that. But that's when I was in Spain. That's when I got to see everything on it. Everything from Army Rangers, everybody. Yeah. Everybody, amphibious units, everything. And it was rad, dude. It was cool.
Yeah. So you did that, but you did that in your late teens or early.
I lived there I graduated in 1997, so I 93.
Okay.
97. And then after I got out of the when I graduated high school.
Turn the mic towards you a little bit there.
When I got out of high school, I had the option. So I played soccer, at a high level.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I probably should have stayed in the U.S. just because the trajectory was better.
Yeah.
Right, honestly. But moving there, you'll never regret it, dude. I got to play with kids that were trying out for Real Madrid and smoking the shit out of me, which I was fine with.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm an American kid with long blonde hair looking like Beckham.
Yeah.
And these guys are killing me, but they're going to go play professional.
Yeah.
So I played on a semi-pro team.
Pretty inspirational, yeah.
It was pretty rad, dude.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it was just humbling. Like, fuck, I don't care. And a really cool story that my dad loves to tell is one day, because again, I got to play because of birthright. I wouldn't have been able to be on the team otherwise.
Right, because
it's very different. In Spain, you got to be from Spain.
Right, you have to be from there.
You got to be from this area, right?
Yeah.
It's not like everywhere else. I got to be from this area.
Yeah.
So since my grandfather was born in Torrelavega, they let me play. My dad's pulling into this gas station right off the base, right? I'm already at the stadium getting ready. He goes in, he tells me the story. He goes in, he's going to get gas real quick. He's trying to go real fast, and he's obviously fluent, so he speaks Spanish to everybody. The gas attendant, because in Europe they still come out and pump your gas and stuff. He's like, what are you doing here? My dad's, and this is all in Spanish, by the way. He's like, what are you doing here? He's like, what do you mean? He goes, your son is about to play right now. Never met this motherfucker in our life. But they knew Rubio, long hair, blonde, white kid, is playing on a semi-professional soccer team in Spain, right? Just for a town.
Yeah.
Which was unheard of because, again, birthrights, you just don't get that situation very often.
Right, right.
Yeah. So after high school, I went and I had the option to go to West Texas A&M or try out for University of Maryland, D1 Terrapins. Didn't know what I didn't know. Ignorant as fuck. Oh, Texas. Got to go to Texas. So, like with anything, soccer in Europe is played, especially Spain, is played very differently.
Yeah.
It is very strategic.
Yeah.
It is in a very closed space, inspired by a guy named Johan Cruyff, who was the developmental pioneer for Barcelona. That's why Barcelona plays the soccer that they do, is because of this guy. And that's how we got into a position that's called tiki-taka. So it was strategic, dude. We could literally control the ball within this space and go.
Yeah.
Right. And then we move on the way up. And then by the time we're here, it's like 4-on-1 and we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
But coming here to the U.S., when I first transitioned back, it was English style, dude. They would fucking kick the ball real long and run. And I was fast, but I wasn't big. Naturally sitting, I'm 165, dude. That's my body's homeostasis. It likes to be there.
Yeah.
I forced it later on in life to get bigger. And that's when I got into the Coast Guard.
So, I
did a lot of college between West Texas A&M and here. A lot of shit I learned what not to do in life.
Yeah.
Very quickly. My parents, God bless them, let me do it until one day they said, you're fucking coming home. We're done with this.
Yeah.
And that's when I left Jacksonville, Florida, and moved back to Texas. It was no more surfing and doing all this shit and fucking around. It was like, okay, time to get serious.
Time to do something with your life.
Shit done, yeah.
So moving back here to Texas, you said at 26. That's actually when you went in.
I moved back here, bro, when I was 20.
Okay.
20. So I was at West Texas A&M at what, 18?
Okay.
Stayed there 1 year, dude. Like, imagine moving from the coast of Spain, which is like California, San Diego.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Newport Beach.
Yeah.
Which
beautiful.
A lot warmer water in Spain, so that's fucking cool. Yeah. Moving to West Texas.
Now, is that
cold
as
fuck?
Odessa? Is Odessa or Midland?
Dude, it's in the Panhandle, bro. I'm talking like Amarillo Canyon.
West Texas A&M. That's where it's okay.
It's in Amarillo. It's in Canyon, Texas.
Okay.
Canyon at that time again.
Yeah.
This is before 2000. Was dry.
Yeah.
And I remember moving there, and the cool thing is they're like, it's what I'm kind of going through with the girls that I have right now, because I have about 60 plus of them that I work with, and they're high level volleyball players, and they're going D1, D2, and we have these really cool, intimate conversations, because I have a son, but I have like $60 now all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't have that dynamics, but I have it with them, which is really rewarding for me. It's like D1, okay, it's good. But what if you're like a record-setting D2 player? Then let's go D2. That's what I thought. Like, okay, let me go do that.
Yeah.
And that's why I left to go with that to school.
Okay. I actually think I think I went to school, and I'll find out. I went to school with a guy. I want to say I think he went to West Texas A&M for soccer.
Who?
His name.
You and
is,
I are about the same age.
His name is Travis Morin. It might have been him or another person, because Travis played soccer. He might have either gone to one of two places. It was either West Texas A&M or somewhere in Florida. Anyway, what's kind of funny is growing up out here is from the skating side of things. I'm fascinated with soccer to this day.
Yeah.
In skating, which was really odd, is I was never there all the time. I wasn't at school. Like, I was traveling a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
And what was really interesting is I actually made more friends with all the soccer players than I did with like anybody else. Even though I was like Olympic,
Right.
world level athlete, like I for some reason I couldn't get along with like the football players and the basketball players. I still have a couple of those friends to this day, but it was the soccer players because they were all odd. like all the soccer players, there was just something a little bit off about all of them. They were a little bit more wild and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so to this day, I've got several of the soccer players I went to high school with that I'm still friends with. And
right.
I want to say one of them, and I thought it was Travis, and I'll find out because I actually messaged with him yesterday.
Travis Moore?
Morin.
How old is he?
He's 39 now. So I mean, a couple years older than you.
Well, no, younger. I'm 42, bro.
Really, man? I fuck up everybody's age on here. I swear to God, Chris, I thought you were a little bit younger than me.
I'm 42, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, you look good for
Thanks,
42,
bro.
man.
Well, it's fitness, man.
Yeah. Well, I guess the other side of it too is you did kind of start late with Levi.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, because like, yes, my mother and father were trying to have kids earlier.
Yeah.
But remember, they were in California.
Yeah.
In California, dude, and this is before the fucking shit show it is now.
Yeah.
It was actually a really great place.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And San Diego to this day is still that way because it's such a melting pot of people and political narratives and belief systems and so forth. It's just San Diego's a very military town.
Yeah.
Fucking great. Fuck LA. So anyways.
Yeah, you got to go to San Diego or Tahoe to escape all the bullshit that's
just
there.
Get rid of all this other stuff. And
it
was so funny because San Diego, they make fun of LA and LA makes fun of San Diego. We're like, what is this fucking like this weirdest shit?
Yeah, San Diego's it's military town.
But yeah, I'm 42, man. Like I graduated high school in 1997.
Okay, so you're 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I graduated in 2000.
Yeah, so I left Florida. So I was going to Florida College, went to UNF. I've been to a lot of colleges, dude. So I got to experience a lot in life. I'm pretty lucky, blessed on my parents' dime. Came back here, I wouldn't say fuck around, but experienced life more and more and more because I wasn't even 21 yet.
Yeah.
Actually ended up working for a company. Remember Southwestern Bell?
Yeah.
Dude, I worked for them in the collections department. I'm shitting you not, dude. I was making like $47 an hour.
Jesus.
As a fucking college student?
Yeah.
I was killing it, dude.
Yeah, 20 years ago? Fuck
bonuses onto an American Express card, dude. We were killing it, man. But long story short, if I condensed all that period...
Kind of funny, actually. My first, what people don't like, Southwestern Bell, my actual first cell phone that I ever had was with Southwestern Bell.
SBC.
Yeah.
Dude, back in the day, man.
Like, and I remember vividly, like going into the store with my dad when I was 17 years old. In 1999, literally going into Southwestern Bell. It's an AT&T store now because, of course, AT&T
bought them out and all that, yeah.
there was AT&T store. It's AT&T store now, but Southwestern Bell, right at the corner of 249 and 1960. If it's on the northbound side of 249, heading east on 1960. There's a little strip center there with a Cons in it.
Oh yeah. There's a pool place over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the other corner,
there's a Chuck E. Cheese there.
For the longest time, that place was a goddamn Southwestern Bell, and it was the funniest thing. And I remember one day just driving by, it was AT&T store.
Well, they ended up buying them. So I worked with them for a while I was in college. Went to the Bauer School of Business at UH. Went to pharmacy. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. I didn't have a clue. Fast forward, remember MySpace?
Yeah.
I'll get a little vulnerable, a little weird.
Hey, man, MySpace was fantastic.
Hey, dude, fucking that guy was great, dude. Fuck Zuckerberg. That guy's just a strange robot.
Zuckerberg's a dickhead.
He's weird, bro. Like, something's wrong with that guy.
Since this is on Google, we could talk shit about.
And they're changing the name to what? You know, what are you trying to rebrand yourself?
I don't know.
New identity?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Because I think that whole shutdown hurt them pretty badly. Because it looks really, really bad.
Well, it's suspect, dude.
Yeah, it looks really bad, like something's going on.
Something else was happening.
Yeah,
because
they blamed it on one engineer.
Being interviewed, or it should be being what's the word? Not interviewed. The other one, because they were not prosecuting them. They were literally investigating them.
Yeah.
To see exactly what practices were going on during the election.
Well, the very next day, the whistleblower was supposed to speak on Capitol Hill. Yeah. But that whole thing right there to me is kind of suspect too, because you got this whistleblower that was there for a long time, is revealing stuff that we already believed was there, that people had already been talking about it. Yeah. Next thing you know, that this person's like a fucking star. They've got verified accounts on Twitter, they've got verified accounts on Instagram and everything else, and they're like on all these, like, it felt like to me watching this whistleblower was more like damage control for fucking Facebook than anything else. It was like softening the blow.
It felt almost like they were using this particular incident, right, to push further into, let me censor you.
Yes.
Because they started to bring up all the practices that they allowed to happen.
Yeah.
So all it did is it creates almost like a Trojan horse. Like, they're going to come in, they're going to silence all of us on it. And well, yeah, because way for them to do it.
Because you had this lady that was over here telling everybody about this stuff that, it's like she's revealing things that we already knew were occurring. We just didn't have proof or whatever. Yep. But now nothing's come of any of that. No. Nothing whatsoever has come from any of that. And now stricter policies are actually coming out from these social media companies. Yeah. I mean, if I'm not, it was just the other day, YouTube made an announcement of.
Did you see this shit about Brandon?
Yeah, the rap song.
Dude,
that you're talking about
Bryson Gray?
Yeah, it was literally, it's the #1 song on iTunes. Yeah,
both of them right here.
Yeah, I had never heard it. Honestly, I had never listened to it
until
I saw the press release that the song was being censored by YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's the #1 song on fucking Apple, man.
Is that the one you have? Or do you have Bryson Gray?
I have the Bryson Gray.
This is the original.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as I say, if it's copyrighted, we'll.
That's the original.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Because basically all he did is he pulled it.
Yeah.
He pulled it from the NASCAR race.
Yeah.
When she tried to.
Right.
Give her some credit, man. She was quick on her feet.
Yeah, exactly.
She didn't know she was going to create a fucking phenomenon.
Good for her. I mean, honestly, hey, you can't blame her for it because they're supposed to downplay cussing on broadcast television.
Damage control, man.
You can't really get on her. But damn, man, she did a damn good job for fucking thinking on her feet like that. That was pretty fucking good. I really did. I was like, wow. But at the same time, yeah, she had no idea what she was going to create. And now, well, first off, we all know that even offensive speech is protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah, dude, that's why we served.
Yeah,
fuck.
Exactly. So, you can go out and literally say, fuck Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And that's completely protected. Now you may get into more heat with somebody. And so now they've made it even bigger where people can literally outright use the term "Let's go Brandon."
Right. You know how they're attaching it though? Through COVID.
Yeah.
Like how? It's fucking apples and oranges, dude. Get the fuck out of here with this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But on that MySpace gig real quick, so I've been married twice. I haven't beat you yet. I've been married twice.
Almost there.
Almost there, bro. I've been married twice. My first wife, we knew one another in Spain. We were like, for all intents and purposes, I mean, we're very much of a similar person.
Okay.
Interesting story. My wife is a chemist, smart as fuck. Right, I married up on that one, so
I
outkicked my coverage.
Yeah.
Biochemist.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
From University of San Diego, which is basically like going to Rice.
Yeah.
Right? So it's an international private school.
Yeah.
Undergrad, master's from Maine. Right? So for some reason, I like short, hard-headed chemistry people, that are cerebral as fuck.
Yeah.
So the Coast Guard, the reason I went in,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
we rekindled on that at
Gotcha.
one point, and it turned into more. And when we went out there, if you do really well so Coast Guard's very different than Army, Navy, Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I didn't have to pick an MOS yet. I can go through camp, then go to the fleet, see what they really fucking do.
Yeah.
Then choose a school.
Yeah.
The only bad part, which most people don't like to do this, because if you can relate in the military, when you are here, you're shit on all day.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go in here and be unidentified. Well, now they do, because now they think they're non-binary, whatever the fuck that means. So basically, I came in as an unidentified fireman. Like, so you have seamen, you have firemen, right? And when I was first getting in, I'm like, firemen? Fuck yeah, I'm doing me the nozzle. No, dude, I was doing fucking engine and stuff.
Yeah.
Paying your dues.
Yeah.
So I got to go in. Originally, though, when I was going in and I moved out, so I did really well in boot camp, right?
Yeah.
So I got to pick the geography. And I got to pick this particular boat, which happened to be in San Diego. So I planned all this, right? So going out there, when I first got in, I wanted to be a health services technician. They were going to pay for me to go to PA school. 100%.
Nice.
It's like a 2.5 year fucking wait.
Yeah.
I'm not doing what I was doing for 2.5 fucking years.
Yeah.
My first senior chief, God bless this man, was a fucking asshole, but it's the military and I was used to it.
Yeah.
He's like, so in between the mains, which means between the main diesel engines, they're fair spank locomotive engines. My wife to this day doesn't believe that I had to actually fucking work on these things because I don't like to be oily and shit, which I don't. But I still had to fucking pull pistons out the size of us and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I still had to do that.
Yeah, they're
for years.
insane.
Carrying buckets of shit from back. Like I had to do this nasty stuff. It's part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you can do a thing called striking. Right, so in other words, I can do on-the-job training to satisfy the qualifications, take the exam, and boom, I'm E2, E3, all the way up.
Yeah.
So I did that all the way to the E1 level because I wasn't going to wait 2.5 years to be this. I couldn't. There's no fucking way, dude. There's no way. So during this time, though, what was cool though is if they see, okay, this person's of value, they have a lot of grit, we can trust them, basically, right? So with that, I got to become. You can choose whatever you want to be qualified in, dude.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
helos, right? So the Dolphins. So they would come up. We had those because both units were narcotics units, anti-terrorism and narcotics. The first one was mainly narcotics.
Okay.
So 378-foot high endurance cutter. Now they have these national security vessels, which are different.
Yeah.
You press a button to turn valves on that fucker. I had to go down
And crank.
manually do shit, dude. 140 fucking degrees. So back to the
Yeah.
he's like, put them down there, man. They come out every fucking 6 weeks. Who cares? So basically, they recycle these guys coming out of boot camp. Bitch, it was hot, dude. It was fucking bad.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I got a new senior chief that just came in. This guy retired. He changed my life. His name was Steve Santos. Fucking really cool dude, right? And this other guy named Bill Payne. They showed me, and they took me under their wings and they helped me a lot. Because I was like, fuck, dude, I'm going to be a storekeeper, for God's sakes, to get out of this shithole. And then I'll figure out what the fuck I want to do. Because this is awful.
Yeah.
And Chief Santos, we just got along really well, dude. Really well. And another one is Kyle Murray. He was a senior. He was a, oh my God, dude. They're going to fucking kill me if they see me. A warrant officer. Chief warrant officer.
Okay.
So in the enlisted ranks, you go enlisted. Then if you make this, you can be a warrant officer, which you're seemingly shared with the officer rankings, right?
Yeah.
You've earned it based on the enlisted piece.
Yeah.
Love me. Don't know why, but he did, which was really good for me. So I ended up doing that striking thing.
Yeah.
Right? Signed off all the quals, worked on all this fucking bullshit. And then you got to pick or you can say, hey, I want to do it. And then they decide, hey, do you want to do other positions? So I was a flight deck rescueman. So in other words, if the Dolphin would crash on deck, I had to don this big fucking Gumby suit, put it on. And AFFF is a firefighting agent, and it blows onto the flight deck.
Yeah.
And it creates a layer of foam, right? Because it'll smother the fire and it'll get rid of jet fuel really quick.
Yeah.
Done. And then when you step, because you can't create a path, because what happens with the fire?
Yeah. It's going to trail
It's
through.
going to trail right through and go to the fucking deck over here.
Yeah.
Then everything's on fire.
Yeah.
So I got to go through that training. I got to go through shipboard firefighting training. Then I got to go to the narcotics. So it's like you can choose things based on merit. So like, how are you going to trust a fuckwad?
Yeah.
I can tell you a really funny story on that one. God, we had a fire one day coming home. I'll tell you about that. That was horrible, But so it was cool because I got to come in here not knowing what I didn't know and then see on the fleet what they did. I like that. Fuck that. So after my first unit was the Hamilton, then they decommissioned the boat not after I was done, but when we were finished with it, moved over to the Maritime Safety and Security Team. That shit was cool. right? And I was really excited about that. I did not like the boat operation bullshit. I don't care if I can read a fucking map. Like, I just want to go, like, let's do this part, right?
Yeah, let's go shoot some shit.
But I had to go through this because my buddy was on this other team, and it was called he was on Tackle It. So they're doing vertical insertions. They're doing, it was fucking cool, right?
Yeah.
That's when Obama took office. $750 million gone like that.
Yeah.
Overnight.
I say y'all's budget got.
750.
Yeah.
So then they put out a message. So again, when I went to that unit, you have to go through all these qualification processes. I hated the boat stuff. I didn't want to fucking tow a boat. I don't care. Let's do this cool shit.
Yeah.
Right. But I had to go through this. So the other cool thing is when you're in our unit, you're either in a deployable status or not, right? And you go through these little phases. We literally would play sport tournaments. In other words, sand volleyball, softball, baseball, soccer, flag football. We literally got paid to play sports against the Marine Corps. Because at MCRD, which is the Marine Corps Recruiting Depot, so it's in the coast of San Diego down there, it was the easiest jump off point for us water-wise to intercept vessels coming through, right? So we operated out of there. So all these are either going through boot camp or they're done with the deployment, so really not going to go anywhere else. And they would fuck with us all day and be so mad because we would destroy them. Like, all you fuckers do is work out. Well, yeah. Like, what else are we going to fucking do?
Yeah.
If I'm not Bravo, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
So when you're not in this deployable status, you literally go in, check in for muster, go work out, go to Subway, come back, because your MOS doesn't matter anymore. Even though I was ranked, or not ranked, but say detailed as a machinery technician, like diesel technology, I never fucking turned a wrench again. That was all.
Yeah.
Yep. Dojo stuff, takedown stuff like that. That's all they ever did after that. We never worked within our MOS again. And at that point when he came in, they were transitioning us into what they call an LE operations, like MOS, that you could apply for if you wanted to. But the minute he put the message through, and I'm like, I think I know what I really want to do now. I didn't do shit for like 7 months. Because the minute they take you out, because they know you're getting out, there's no more dojo, there's no more range, there's no more anything, there's no more deployment, there's no more active status on it.
They just shut you down.
Basically, because you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like I still had my security clearance and all that stuff, but I did not go anywhere anymore. Like the last one that they were going through was the Gitmo, and the other one was when Obama was going to his big vacation over in Hawaii. They wanted us to run maritime ops sitting around it. So once they knew I was getting out and it was approved, because I was honorably discharged, I did well. I didn't do shit, dude. I was at the beach by like 12. Seriously. You know.
Well, that's the kind of that's why the Coast Guard gets the fucked up name
rap,
that they
dude.
that's
we're
why.
Smaller than the NYPD, for God's sake.
Yeah. You guys will have like 25,000.
We would not even fit. Like, in other words, it'd be too big.
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. NYPD can't fit in that bitch.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because they got 38. There's 38,000 NYPD officers. Yeah. I think there's like 25,000 Coast Guard or something like that.
Remember 9/11?
Yeah.
We were DOT back then.
Really?
Yeah. Then they positioned us to be DHS, which makes more sense. Because I remember when I first got in, and there's periods of time when you deploy that you have no access to communication.
Yeah, because
email can't do nothing.
Because I mean, it sounds like you guys just kind of police waterways, which are kind of like traffic and stuff like that. But yeah, why the fuck would you be under DOT versus DHS?
So in the beginning, I don't know what they did when they were DOT. I don't know if they were just localized operations.
Yeah.
Coming out of whatever. I have no clue. Did CBP take care of that? Did ICE? I don't know. But then they transitioned us into the DHS. Dude, my first tour, I was never home. My mom grew up military. Her dad, everyone. I'm like fifth generation, dude.
Yeah.
You know, everything from Seabees to fucking read everything. She's like, you're never home. Where the fuck is this? The Coast Guard? What coast are you guarding?
Yeah.
I was in international waters the whole time. The entire time. Our pack tackler teams, if I would have stayed in and I would have pushed, right, and that's the direction I'd been with those guys. Man, I had some friends. They did some cool shit, dude.
Yeah.
They were on international vessels the whole time, either Dutch, English, and they would do high-risk boarding operations.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of interception, so.
Oh, dude, piracy was huge.
Yeah.
Narcotics, especially the pack tackler teams, dude, they're doing vertical insertions coming out.
Yeah.
Doing high-risk boardings where we know they have more than what we want to fuck with.
Yeah, well, because technically you guys are in Coast Guard monitors all the shipping lanes and everything else. Yeah,
and we have specific units that will do that.
Yeah,
like when we came home one time, we had to be diverted because the boat, like fishing, illegal fishery is big, dude, in Alaska and stuff.
Yeah,
fucking big business.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? We're going to fucking Alaska now? Great. Okay, so they couldn't take this boat because we're the bastards of the Navy, so our boats are pieces of shit. So everything was always broken. We barely passed these fucking little periods of inspection. I don't know how we did it, but we did. But this boat had to go into dry dock to get fixed. So they're like, oh, you're a law enforcement vessel. Let's fucking send you to Alaska. Our boat's a high endurance cutter, dude. Okay, so all that this means is that the structural integrity of this vessel is not going to take 25, 40-foot fucking waves with icebergs.
Right.
The integrity is not there, but we still went.
Yeah.
Because we were a law enforcement unit, and apparently that's a dangerous mission, I guess. I never fucking knew this. Didn't have a clue, dude. During this time is when the ice caps began to melt.
Yeah.
Russia tried to move in. They sent us through fucking icebergs and shit on a 378, which it moves well. It's a high endurance cutter.
Yeah.
But we hit this shit. We're like the Titanic. We're going down.
Yeah.
Worst thing you want to do in the water.
Yeah.
Take on water. Take a fire all day. Take on water. Because if you cannot stop water, that whole boat's going down.
Yeah.
If the fire's there, I'm in fucking water. It's going to go out. Right? So you're sending us through these fucking places that have icebergs that are literally will puncture our hull. We're old as fuck. Our Hamilton, the boat, we're the oldest boats in the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
But since we had a Sea Whiz and 76s and 25s and law enforcement and the team, they said go. Thankfully we did because we had to pull in, like go up and show a presence so they wouldn't come in. What that meant on a higher level than I ever was, don't have a clue.
Yeah, they're doing the same. They're doing the same thing in the South China Sea where China's trying to move in and trying to take over spots there and stuff like that. It's literally just showing a presence.
Well, the Arctic's not claimed.
Right. They can't. Can't.
So now they want, because that shit is rich in oil.
Oh yeah.
Rich, and just the sea-bearing like resources.
Yeah.
Unreal, dude. It was cool though when I went out there, and I've been to a lot of cool places in my life. Man, I'm blessed. The water was like Crayola threw up when the sun would hit.
Yeah.
And like you could like Willy Wonka, like you could like the texture you could almost pull out of the water. Then all of a sudden you see a fucking polar bear sitting on an iceberg. I'm like, where the fuck did you come from, dude? There's nothing here. Orcas coming out and stuff, dude. It was one of the coolest patrols I've ever been on in my life.
And you didn't want to go.
You know, and fuck no, it's cold as shit up there. You know, they have Kodiak, Alaska, which is a really big spot for our ASTs, which are those guys are unreal, dude.
Yeah.
They're like, man, why don't you do that? Fuck you. Like, first off, I'm heavy. That shit does not float.
Yeah.
So it's a misconception is they think a lot of these guys are huge. No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're like lanky swimmers. There's only one that I've ever known.
Yeah.
The whole time I was in there, and he was a drill instructor. This motherfucker was like rock solid.
Yeah.
Like bodybuilder. But somehow they said when he was in the water, he was a fucking boat.
Yeah, because you got a lot of those frog guys. They're very lean.
Yeah.
Very lean. They have to be. I mean,
physics, dude.
not
energy to pull your big ass around.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just it's pure science on that part. Because I mean, like, well, for like David Goggins, of course, he's very
freak.
But he's quite large. I mean,
he's a big man. He's like 215, 220.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
Yeah, and he's like 6'3", 6'4", something like that. But you take your average special forces person, stuff like that. No, they're like our size.
Yeah, they're about.
But much skinnier than me.
Because they have to be.
Yeah,
you have to preserve. One of my closest friends, dude, God bless him, man. He's fucking unreal. He knows who I'm talking about when he sees it. He was a sniper.
Yeah, like
unreal. Like he wasn't big.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't fuck with this dude to save.
No.
I'll say, chop my leg off? Sure, I'll do that for you real quick. Because you couldn't be big back then and be able to carry the excessive amount of weight because it cost energy. That's why even in training, you got to beat the shit out of yourself to get bigger.
Yeah.
It is not a primal response to put on muscle tissue because it costs food.
Yes.
To preserve it, to fuel it, to move it.
I was actually talking to somebody about this today, buddy of mine, from my time away, my time under supervision from TDC. Yeah. He actually messaged me today, and he was like, "Man, what can I do about weight?" You know, he says, working out wise, do I need to lose weight or put on muscle, or can I do them both at the same time? And I said, ideally, you'd honestly want to do them both at the same time,
right?
If you're physically able to. I said, because if you go do straight cardio, you're going to burn muscle.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You go the other way.
Right.
You go the other way. If you got to get into a kind of a calorie deficit if you're looking to lose straight weight, or you go and you lift fast, you lift heavy, and you put on muscle at the same time. You burn calories.
Well, think of this though. And we'll just use math, real easy.
Yeah.
In order to put on weight or either to lose weight, I'm either in a surplus or I'm in a deficit.
Right.
In order to create an adaptation where muscle grows, and it's very hard for most of us.
Yeah. I
got to be in a decent surplus.
Yeah.
So to do it, it's possible. It's a very fine line to walk, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
Right. I've only seen many people, but like
Quinn's a freak, man.
He's a freak, dude.
He's unbelievable.
He legitimately put on 34 pounds when we trained. 34.
Such a pretty man, by the way.
Dude, he's a pretty boy, bro. Actually, he's got a good heart, man. He's a good kid, dude.
No, he is. He's a
one of
great
my
guy.
favorite people.
Yeah.
But he never put on fat, dude.
Yeah.
Like, the whole time we put on 32, 35 or whatever it was. Never.
Yeah.
Never really put on fat. I think a lot of it owed to, yes, his genealogical expression is just fucking great. But the way that we trained was very different.
Yeah.
Right? Because when he came to me, he goes, I want to be athletic. And I took that. And so even, to kind of fast forward to where I am now, I believe that is the underpinnings of every competitor's success period. I don't care if you play volleyball, baseball, soccer, it doesn't matter. If you're athletic and you develop this foundation, which is a multifactorial set of skills, you can learn anything.
Yeah.
You're going to have power expression, speed expression, strength speed expression. You're going to have all these values that are built from this.
Yeah.
And there's a very important term called biomotor qualities. All of that means, like, think of speed skating.
Yeah.
There's a rhythm, there's a timing, there's a sequential order that this must command the rest of this to do at a very high rate with zero energy leaks. Because the minute I leak energy, I slow down or I regress, right?
Right.
That's athleticism, period.
Yeah.
That is the underpinnings of everything. And we go through this now with all the girls and guys we work with. To put in kind of a reference perspective outside of, the skating, I have a young lady who is being looked at by University of Kentucky. They're national champions.
Yeah.
She's one of the most athletic chicks I've ever seen in my life. Unreal. Okay? Her counterpart is a little better on the technical aptitude of the position. But what I would love to have this conversation on is, if I have athleticism, it influences biomotor qualities, biologic, motor pattern development, expression through the body. I can learn any skill set. Yeah. Period. Well, if you don't have the athleticism, Jason, you ain't getting that shit now.
No, because you
can't.
You also have to look at, I guess, from the perspective. Always, I like you're very scientific with all of that, and I've always looked at it from the perspective of.
Well, yours is anecdotal. You've been through it.
Yeah.
I can regurgitate literature. It doesn't mean anything unless you can tell me how it worked for you.
But for me, I just always looked at it from the perspective of if you are athletic, you have, like you said, like you have the ability to learn. Mine was the ability to adapt.
The same thing, yes. There's a resiliency factor that you can mold. Yeah. It's called plasticity. Yeah. You can mold into anything. Yeah. Yeah. It's literally called neuroplasticity.
Yeah, because I could, like, me, for example, like I was a sprinter, and that's just biomechanically, that's the way my body was built. I've never been an endurance guy that competing wise, but I could certainly go out and on practice, and I could do 10K, 15K, 20K practices. But when we go to a competition, I'm just not one that's made to win, but I could adapt to the situation simply because I was athletic. I could get out there and I could be in this. My body knew how to do it. Was I going to win? Was I going to be the absolute best at that position? No, but
you can compete on all of them, though.
I can compete on all of it. The biggest thing that I've noticed is from my athleticism is where I'm at almost 40 compared to a lot of my counterparts. Where people of similar age that weren't athletes, that weren't in there doing all these other things. Right. Their adaptation to change in their life is so it's like this.
Well, think of also what you and I've done.
Yeah.
Outside of that.
Yeah.
When you're presented a new environment that you have to adapt to very quickly.
Yeah.
It's survive or die. Darn it, like it's really quick. You have to learn that very fast.
Yeah.
So when you go look at the athleticism piece, when we talk about the word biomotor.
Yeah.
It is. So I have another young lady. She high end dancer, like really good dancer. She's in high school, really good.
Yeah.
So that is the ability to express movement through choreography. Sports choreography is just skill specific. So if this young lady has the ability to run an hour or 30 or 20 minutes, whatever the case is, of all these different qualities of movement, I'm going to be pretty good at what I want to do once I learn it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So, well, let's I guess kind of back that up a minute. Right now, you are you're pretty much specializing in like high end, like high school athletes.
Like volleyball, man. Like
volleyball,
dude. Yeah. So when I left, remember for about 7 years I was with 24 in Lifetime. Yeah. When I went into those positions with 24 specifically in the beginning, that's when I was working for NASM and I was at Panga. I was very blessed to go through a community called PTA Global. They taught me all the this is what it's about, right? It's a very holistic approach to how we train people. Yeah. So I knew what good training was. I didn't know shit about business. Yeah. Honest to God, dude. Walked into my first club. I was an assistant fitness manager so I could understand their business model. Yeah. And then their goal was to put me into different clubs to train the trainers because that's what I was doing for NASM. Come to find out, I walk into this club. some things had transpired. I ended up with like 37 clients like this. I was training like 250 sessions a month, dude.
Jesus.
And it's good, especially if you're at where I'm at now.
Yeah.
You're with a big box coming in. Say you're making about 40% of that. Like, you're like, fuck, dude, what? So it sounded good at the time because working for NASM was just a resume booster.
Yeah.
I was poor as shit.
Yeah.
But I had fun because I was on the water every day with Ping Surf. So that was cool. So going into the 2-4, I had to learn the business component of what our position, in other words, what training was about.
Yeah.
So it's very multifactorial. You have entrepreneurial, you'll have communicative, which is like the power of persuasion and being able to influence people, sales psychology. Then you have your technical aptitude. Trainers are good at this.
Yeah.
Not so good at this.
Right. Yeah.
If you're extroverted, you have that because you've been presented in different situations. So you have to learn how to adapt to people. And you just really like talking to them, but not everybody's that way. My wife is one of those. So I got to that first club. We crushed it. Go to the second club. Do the same thing over. And it just transcended over to more and more and more clubs that way.
Yeah.
You know? So the what were we talking about?
Well, the specialization now. You've gotten to the point where you're literally just looking at like specialty high-end athletes.
Yes. So when I was there, and again, my responsibility was to walk into a club, understand their culture. Was it broken? Most of the time it was.
Yeah.
Look at the profit and loss statements, the financial reports that were specific to 2-4 that I understood, and it would tell me a story, and I would fix and go. 90 days, gone, go to the next one, right? Sometimes it was longer. Sometimes it was about 90 days. So I spent time at about 6 different clubs over 7 years. Lifetime came in, pay you a lot of money. Never follow through, but they pay you a lot of money because they can do that. So let's fast forward. So one of my buddies was a district manager, so he ran like 13 clubs. He was a district fitness manager before we freaking even had that, really, right? And then he becomes a volleyball coach, but he's been in volleyball for 24 years.
Oh.
Unreal, right? Short little guy, but he's unreal, right? So he comes to me when we opened that club. He goes, Chris, I wanted to do this before because I had trained him. We had worked together. He saw me develop trainers. But there was no way, if like put it in perspective, I live in the Woodlands. I'm driving to Rice Village.
Yeah.
Dude, the first time I had to do it, 70 minutes each way. Second time, 2 hours and 20 minutes each way.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
A little piece of me died every day. So fast forward to all that COVID, all that went through. He comes to me and he's like, hey, man, we tried to do this before. Can you do it now? I'm like, well, fuck yeah, let's go. It mushroomed. I had 1. I have 60.
Yeah.
I had a bigger business with parents, right? So adults, and then what we call age group athletes, specific on the triathlon side, because the Woodlands way it is. It's a huge Ironman community. And with Angel and I doing them, we had some buy-in, right?
Yeah.
Especially when I practiced on myself and fucked myself up trying to do it. You know? So they at least trusted me. Because again, we're big proponents of the strength part, right? That equation.
Because remember, I was actually there. I was there when you got your Achilles.
Yeah, dude, when I blew that thing out?
Yeah.
Dude, that was fucking...
I was literally 20 feet from you.
Right. The injury itself on that, not to get off topic, that hurt, but it was the recovery, dude. Like, and I'll go into that. That was like the most, and we've deployed, and I've had tons of injuries, and,
sure,
pain. It was inarguably the most arduous, emotional, physical experience of my life.
Because ironically, like you were there. The only time I've broken over 100 bones in my body. The only muscle I've ever actually torn, you were standing right there.
Bicep.
Yeah, my bicep.
Yeah.
When it was about a year ago. Yeah. Well, about a year ago now when I tore my bicep. And then literally when you fucked up your Achilles, I'm like 20 feet from you and just watched you just all of a sudden in your leg.
Swelled.
Yeah.
And it rolled up because I have one of the young girls I work with, her name's AC, and Shannon and her brother were there during that.
Yeah.
And Shannon, I guess when she goes, AC, his muscle rolled up.
Yeah.
I saw his bone move.
Yeah.
That's her words. I was like, fuck, damn.
Yeah.
My Achilles.
Yep.
Right up,
So yeah, emotionally, because I'll be honest, like it's really weird because of your background and everything. We see a lot of people that are our age,
yeah.
And you see this like steady decline, coming into their 30s, 35, 36. You start seeing this decline.
Right.
Watching you, and I'm just watching this. I'm just watching this. You're just going up, and then all of a sudden that fucking Achilles, and I know what it has to do mentally because you're on your climb.
Well, it's the most painful thing in the fucking world.
Yeah.
It is. But real quick, so I can just finish this, so we don't move that. It's so he comes to me. He's like, "Hey, can you help me?" Mushroom, dude, I got like 60 of them. I got a waiting list, dude.
Yeah.
So I literally train like 4 adults, all youth volleyball players now. I switched my doctorate from it's human performance still, but I literally pushed everything into how to avoid ACL injuries. There's 100,000 surgeries every year for girls between 14 and 17.
Yeah.
We've had 19,000 articles published since Title IX, right? So when we started recognizing women in sports in NCAA. But if there's 19,000 articles published, There is research evidence to say here's what we suggest to help not let it happen at least as frequently, because you can't avoid it altogether.
Specifically female athletes.
Female, because of the biomechanical inefficiencies, the chemical piece on the hormone side, the way that they land, they're just different, right? We're built differently.
Yeah.
Right? So 19,000 articles since this day, and this was like 30 years ago. But ACL surgeries for girls, 100,000 a year, dude.
Wow.
100,000. The majority of them come from volleyball and soccer. Right?
Makes sense.
Right? So I literally switched my entire doctorate program to that. That's everything that I do.
Yeah.
So now I literally only train girls, dude. I have like 2 guys.
Yeah.
And I work with nothing but girls. And it's cool because I have Levi. I don't have a daughter.
Yeah.
But I got like 60 of them now.
Yeah.
You know? So it's really cool for me on that. I'm like,
well, yeah, I watch all your videos. I see your videos every day, and it's you can tell they're volleyball players because they're all tall and lean. And so you're watching these videos with all these different movement activities and everything else. Like, so I mean, obviously you're a student of all this stuff.
right.
It's funny because, well, I mean, do you practice this shit on yourself and then you implement it with them? Because I'll see some of your videos.
I'm still not 100% on my right leg.
Yeah.
But I had surgery on April the 5th.
Yeah.
We're in October. Kobe took 10 months. I'm not comparing myself to Kobe. I love that guy. God bless him. Mamba. Love him. Durant, more.
Yeah.
I jumped with power within 6 months. I can demonstrate explosiveness in a change of direction scene as well.
Yeah, because that's
did the same movement that fucking blew my.
I was gonna say because that's what actually did it was the quick change of motion.
Yep.
I was standing there. You were trying to show them.
Well, the first time it happened, dude, it was at my house.
Yeah.
Before my house, excuse me. I was asked, hey, can you come do some agility, speed stuff with this baseball team, one of these club baseball teams? I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
I said, I'll come out there. There's a buddy of mine. He was the coach. He was one of them at least. And we went into how to change directions, how to leave the ground behind you, how to use your body in order to create all these athletic qualities. Because at their age, weight, like lifting weight, is not as important as being able to develop high levels of like what we call like motor pattern development. Just move well, dude. Move well.
Yeah.
Then we can add load. If you can't move well, I'm building fitness on dysfunction, right? Because I can't move well yet.
Yeah.
So I was literally teaching that. In that one time at the very end, I pivoted and pushed, and I felt this tweak. I'm like, man, that was weird. Nothing really happened. Fast forward, right? And I'm still doing all this stuff. Like, I didn't stop. Where I fucked up at is I was always doing it in bands because I wasn't used to the transition of adults training 250 sessions a month with these guys to having to demonstrate this stuff as much, right? So it was just a compound effect of stupidity on my side. Honestly, I blame myself, right? The second time, I'm in my garage and I'm doing a pivot direction change. In other words, I want to pull this foot in, right? In other words, pivot to change over so they don't shuffle. They learn how to rotate, create rotational power to step over and then jump up.
Yeah.
It not only saves time, it allows you more ability to change the play if you needed to. Because a lot of the times they'll come up for the set, these girls, and then they'll just dump it. This one that's jumping has to come down fast to move, you know? So this allows you to develop better rates of speed quality.
Okay.
Instead of, let me just move sideways. And a lot of the times that, when especially at their age, I need you to move as fast as you would when you play. Because in order to get to where you want playing wise, you got to get that way in practice.
Right.
So give me everything you got, 110%.
Absolutely.
So when I did that one, I pivoted in red Vans. So it happens a lot in court sports, specifically grass.
Yeah.
AKA tennis.
Yeah.
Back when they had gum rubber soles, like Vans, I blew my foot out of the shoe.
Yeah.
It popped out. I still jumped.
Yeah. The shoe stays in place. You keep
I
going.
still jumped out of the shoe.
Yeah.
Landed, was about to jump. I heard the pop here, landed here, shifted over my left leg, went inside. It was funny because one of the coaches was like, can we be done? She's like, yes. I said, you heard that, huh? She goes, yep.
Yeah.
Walk inside, end up getting Angel's high school sweetheart, right? I was able to get in with him very fast. So when you're when you own your own business, never say you got hurt at work. Because they try to make workman's comp pay for the image.
Right.
Like, I don't have fucking workman's comp. I own it.
Yeah.
So we fought with these guys forever, right?
Yeah.
They never did the imaging. It was already partially torn, but I didn't know this. I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to push it. I'm going to see what I can do. I was squatting with the eccentrics. I didn't move into gravity-based weight. In other words, like dumbbells, Olympic lifting, all that. Because that has a different tissue stress. When you look at the other technologies, it allows, if my muscle fiber is this long and we have compartments, it's called a length tension relationship, right? The technology is going to make every bit of this work together.
Right.
With weights, I create acceleration, the weight moves, it
Yeah.
kind of slowly transitions in space.
It's like
All of a
this,
sudden I
then
gotta
this,
catch it.
then this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I skip places.
Yeah.
So the adaptation process is different. They both have their own place and value.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use this until I got really good at this.
Yeah.
Right? So went through my own rehab protocol, did really well with it because I rehabbed the shoulder after I blew that thing out, right? Didn't even have surgery. But apparently that day, I put my foot up, Jason. I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Because Beth was there. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember.
Yes.
Put my foot up, said, Beth, do the penultimate step off the elevation so they learn how to create power to capture ground reaction to jump up.
Yeah.
Because when you use a step, it brings them up so they hit the ground harder. So the thing called mass specific force. You weigh 200 pounds. How much force do you got to put into the ground to capitalize on the amount of tension necessary in the system to jump up as high as you can?
At least,
or to move forward as fast as you can?
yeah, at least 200 pounds.
It's a mass specific, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to use the elevation platform coming from a company called Pure Project Athlete, who I went through with.
Yeah.
Because I knew, like, my master's in human performance. I got 15 certs, worked with the USA Olympic. I got all that. But I didn't know the jumping piece.
Yeah.
But if I don't know the answer, I'm going to go find it. I will never be the guy who says, make up bullshit. No. Because in the day they'll look me up, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Not only that, it's just not fair. Like,
Right.
Let me just go find the answer. It's okay to not know shit. We're a student of the craft.
Absolutely.
Happens. So I went through these guys, and they taught me a shit ton. So I was on that drill, said, Beth, remember this one? And I was stepping off, and it snapped. Because I was in an excessive pronation.
Yeah.
So the toe pointed down, shortened the Achilles.
Yep.
The minute I just put any sort of rate change,
Yep.
it snapped.
Yep.
And it flew right up.
Yeah.
I was in surgery like 3 days later, dude. Straight from the ridge.
Yeah.
The surgery was fine.
That's fast.
It was quick, dude.
Yeah.
He said, I was blessed because of the way that I've trained
Yeah.
in going into it the way that I was conditioned, and it didn't snap funny. He said, Chris, it was weird. It was like clean.
Clean.
It just, so it wasn't like this condition where there was a ton of inflammatory responses, where it was all degrading, like my shoulders and stuff in the military. It's just clean, dude. And on a statistics level, I know why most people blow their ACLs out, their PCL, their MCL, their meniscus. I know because I've studied it. There's nothing on Achilles.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. Doesn't matter.
Well, really odd. Well, I mean, like, I was in the so '98. I was in the X Games. I was 16 years old, and San Diego. We're at Qualcomm Stadium, skating down the hill.
Qualcomm back in the day.
Yeah, come down exactly because our Southwestern Bell.
Yeah.
My phone was a Qualcomm.
Yeah, back in the day.
But
dude.
I'm coming down the hill and we go through this S curve and I crash. I hit the hay bales over here and it slings me across. Well, when they set up the course, they were supposed to put the hay bales like in front of the curb like
Right.
this.
Oh,
Well,
you
they
hit the
put
curb, didn't you?
Well, they put them like this, sitting on top of it. So when I hit that hay bale, I went right up under it
Yeah, the
instead of
bell
bouncing.
moved.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
moved.
yeah.
I went under it. My left ankle hit like this, and it completely went sideways.
Oh,
So did what's
Was it
called
compound?
it was an avulsion fracture.
it
it
snaps
took-
out of the bone and the joint access, and it comes through, right?
The-
So it just pulled out the bottom, the tibia and fib. And pulled it.
The left side of my ankle, actually the tendon on the left side ripped the end of my bone completely off. The bone came completely off.
Okay, yeah.
It pulled it halfway up my calf. And I got up and skated down the hill, not knowing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was in pain, but I got down there, thought that was the only way I was going to get paid, is I had to finish. So I got down to the bottom.
You mean you can't get paid if your feelings were hurt?
Yeah. No, you cannot get paid if your feelings are hurt. Yeah, you had to finish. So I got up and I skated down that fucking hill, and they rushed me over to surgery. I walked in. The orthopedic surgeon who operates on the San Diego Chargers at the time, he rushed me into surgery. I walk out of surgery within 3 hours of the crash. I walked out on my own power. I had a walking boot on. A week later, I was in Missouri getting molded for a brand new custom skate.
Yeah.
On my feet. 6 weeks later, I was at the World Championships in Italy skating.
It's that athletic resiliency model that you create, right?
That's what I was talking about, the adaptation. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I know where I'm
Yeah, no, go ahead. It's you can go through there. Right here.
This right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a
So,
1 second.
no worries. He's got to go. So, anyway, you guys can skip past this part. Don't worry about it. He's got to go to the bathroom. Sometimes it happens. I've become a pro at this. So, I mean, at least holding it. Looks like the new, the Dune cover there. I don't know. Fred and I were singing this song the other day in the truck. We had the kids in there. We cranked it up loud. We were singing to them. But it's got to be a first. It's going to be a first for the show. You're looking at, you was a girl the day that she left me. Hey, what are you looking at? She was a happy girl when she left me. What would you do? I gotta start doing my videos again. I know a bunch of people fucking hate them, but it's entertaining to me. Just getting to scream is what it is. We'll have to see about maybe cut this part out. Hey, no worries, man. You actually, I know you got a hard out here in a couple minutes.
No, I'm good for now.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I didn't realize you were this close.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, because I'm just 15 minutes up the road.
Okay.
Yeah, she don't come to
What time do you need to be out here by?
2:10.
2?
20 to 20.
Okay, we're good.
We got plenty of time.
Yeah, we're good. But yeah, it goes back to the adaptation of it. Is when you're an athlete and you're able to your body can change and adapt very quickly to the things that are happening to you. It also goes to recovery, the recovery side. Like when I tore my bicep.
I remember that.
I mean, that was right before Thanksgiving last year, and I didn't stop lifting.
No, you healed quickly, dude.
I mean, I was back in there. Now, granted, I didn't go back and I wasn't doing deadlifts, super heavy deadlifts, but the oddest thing, the absolute oddest thing, I had no problem whatsoever doing a push exercise. It was the pulling of it. But I could go do deadlift. I went right back to doing deadlift. Now, I didn't go 500 pounds. I went to like 225.
Well, think of if we rewind, right?
Yeah.
And this is the most common injury for deadlifting.
Yeah.
The position you were in is not the back.
No.
They literally tear the bicep distally.
Yeah.
And it rolls up.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's because I bend, flex the elbow, and I try to pull up it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're in this offset grip, and I'm trying to rotate under and pull this weight up like a curl. That's when we snap this thing. And it's always distal.
Yeah.
For the most part, like, if we look at overuse, proximal.
Yeah.
So up here, because mine are destroyed. That's why this one tore. Like doing that video, I was doing this demonstration for FitPro.
Yeah.
And it fucking snapped right in the middle. And I lost the tool that was with me, the object, and I just looked down and it said, so it pulled from the long head bicep tendon up, goes through the labrum.
Yeah.
And the rotator cuff. Ripped the whole thing off.
And came down.
Fucking ripped the whole thing off, dude. But I didn't rip, like, it didn't pop eye, because it was just the long head. Right? And the long head ties in like a cam system. So it comes up, connective tissue, pulls in here, and allows rotary motion of the shoulder, right? Stability. It was gone, dude. Just ripped it 100%. So with your deadlifting, you can't pull because you have to extend, in other words, lengthen and shorten. It's pissed distally, right? So the injury site's here. Yeah. You can pull, just keep your arm straight.
See, well,
you can go to pronated. That's why you can pull.
Well, that's what I done. I was going opposite grips. I went completely changed everything and was just pulling straight this way.
Honestly, if you can do it, like, and I get hammered a lot by these zealots, right? I believe in what I believe. I'm not saying that there's no value in the other things that I don't necessarily prescribe. Sure. Because I think there is. There's a specific need for a lot of things. But referencing like the deadlift, for example. Yeah. Pronated, if I do it right, so in other words, knuckles out, snap the bar. Right. I create tension, which is called torque. Takes the arm bone, rotates it out, pulls the shoulder out, turns it off, allows your lat to engage. Lat goes from shoulder to the back. So now you have this big wingspan to be able to help lift the weight. Right. This is unorthodox. You're creating two different pull and push forces in the body. Yeah. It's more comfortable, but they don't get hurt on this hand. No. They're trying to fucking curl this deadlift. So even
that's exactly what happened.
Well, even with a lot of the athletes that I work with, conventional deadlift, and you can have anybody that want to fucking have this conversation. I'll pull the fucking research for you, and it's not just research peer reviewed. I'll show you anecdotally, which is real life bullshit. Right? It's funny in the CDD, I get the arguments with these professors. I said, I do this for a living. Like, I'll show you the real evidence.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to have all the technology to show them the data. So anyhow, I don't use the barbell.
Yeah.
Because in sport, there's very rare moments in time where I'm having to pull something straight from the ground and going straight up.
Right.
It's rare.
Right.
So if I want to look at a specific need, why not use a different apparatus?
Yeah.
That also shortens the learning curve. To pull right, you're not pulling 20% of your body weight. It's a compound lift.
Right.
85 to 100, right? Because I need to have that adaptation. It takes longer to set that up to get them to a position where it doesn't hurt and they're doing it well.
Right.
Use a hex bar.
Yeah.
Right. So that's like, I just don't do certain things. Loading the spine on
Yeah.
the back squat.
Yeah.
Same thing. But I'll use a safety bar.
Right.
Because it transfers differently. And when you actually have it set up right, the load comes right across linear, right? So it's parallel to the shoulder girdle and it sits right on the spine perfectly.
Yeah. It's almost like a front squat.
It's really nice, dude. Have you ever used them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're really nice, dude.
Yeah.
They're a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
And again, I know
You can go super heavy weight on them. That's for
Yes,
sure.
dude. Well, a lot of the people are like, you need to get comfortable with the pain. I'm like, dude, I got a fucking 16-year-old girl. I need her to get this adaptation. I don't give a fuck about the weightlifting part.
Yeah.
A lot of the times the coaches get so narrow focused,
Yeah.
right, that they don't see the big picture, which is outside of us. We live in a big world of movement.
Yeah.
Our responsibility and commitment to the people that have expressed, or not expressed, but have literally trusted us to
Yeah.
help them, have a coaching mindset. Look at everything that we can possibly use. I will never negate the value for that deadlift. I'll never negate the value for a back squat.
Yeah.
I just don't necessarily, it's as applicable to the sports development part. I
Well,
just don't think so.
People ask me all the time, obviously, because me at this age, my goal is just to maintain a certain level of fitness and strength that I'm comfortable with. It's not to set world records, none of that bullshit. And people ask me, okay, why do you lift heavy on, say, a deadlift specifically?
I believe you have to, the lift.
Yeah.
I believe in that.
But it's for me it's specifically a gauge of overall strength. Is it functional? Is it functional that you're actually going to have to do something similar to a deadlift in the real world? Very unlikely. In that particular,
a lot of friends that'll argue with me on that.
Yeah.
Like dudes that I look up to, but they've also transitioned to a different ideological standpoint of the way that they want to train.
Yeah.
Like they went from, Viper, loaded movement training, holistic, which
Yeah.
we need, right, to CrossFit.
yeah,
So now what does my perspective go to?
right,
CrossFit. So we can say, I need to lean forward at the waist. I need to get down as low as I can. I need to get out into an object. I need to pick it up and bring it up. So there's a guy named Joel Seidman.
Mm-hmm.
He gets fucking hammered all day long. I like the guy, okay? In order to pioneer and develop, or in order to advance our science, right? Our sciences kind of stay the same. Right?
Yeah.
Science is science. How we apply them will change. And it requires somebody who has a no fucks given attitude sometimes
yeah,
to go out on a limb. So he is very big on 90-degree joint angles. I remember, you've probably seen us do it, 90-degree joint angles. I'm going to lower down for 3 seconds. I'm going to pause at 90. I'm going to hold that position. I'm going to go up as fast as I can. There's an expression of contractile qualities. In other words, when I lengthen a muscle, you get certain adaptations. When I hold a muscle in place, I get a certain adaptation. When I shorten it, I get another one. In order to have a colossal amount of explosive ability, I need to have a very efficient way to load that muscle. So that is your eccentrics. When I hold the position at a 90-degree angle based on his ideology, and he has a whole dissertation on it, smart, right? I have a better relationship between the muscles that are supposed to work together. So if this is a squat, quad, hamstring have a co-contraction relationship that they work really well on to generate maximal amount of forces, and he uses that biomotor stuff to, boom, get up as fast as I can. But then you have other people who want to close the gap.
yeah,
And they say patella wrapping protects the knee.
mm-hmm.
He made a really good point now, and I use this a lot. And a lot of times these coaches, they don't say anything back. They're like, fuck, I gotta look that up. Because I had to. I was like, fuck, dude, okay. You squat.
Yeah.
I lower down.
Right.
I get here. What
Right.
happens here? Have you seen this?
right,
That is your body saying, don't fucking do that again.
right.
It is an alarm system.
Oh yeah,
Because when I overstretch one, create understretch on the other, the relationship of what we call the fiber, remember the link tension, and there's mechanisms inside of these. It's a box.
yeah,
There's an intrafusal and there's an extrafusal fiber. Traditionally, when we have issues, it's inside the box that we can't do shit.
right,
So if I shorten it all the way, I ain't getting nothing here. I'm going
Right.
straight to stretch.
right,
So we borrowed a lot of this stuff from a guy named Melsif. The guy's the pioneer of strength training. His book was written like 20 years ago, and it's probably still the best book today.
Yeah.
The most comprehensive book. And another guy named MET, Greg Roscoff. Right. So Greg created an application called muscle activation technique. And I went and got a certification. And what it does, it looks at the length tension relationship based on the box, based on joint position. So what I do is I put you in the shortest position because I'm going to shut that off. And then when I come out of it and I do the whole application process, it is supposed to re-engage. So in other words, take more information from the outside, put it to the inside. So therefore, you have a better relationship that is being shared between these two mechanical pieces of the muscle tissue.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the 90-degree piece that like Stephen. So my whole point is like, none of us are original. We're going to borrow information. We're going to apply it as we see fit. But what I've really appreciated about where I've come from with this, because I didn't know what I didn't know. I was a fucking meathead coming out of the military, fucking myself up, lifting heavy. Wish I'd have known. To a world that's very holistic.
Yeah.
These guys are the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
But they open you up to, okay, this is just not the way that biomechanics say that we express movement. There's a lot more to consider.
Yeah.
And I've always appreciated that. I've always.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even say, like, I'll never aspire to be an expert. I like to be the expert generalist. I want to know a lot about a lot of things, right? So it allows me to help more people more often.
Sure.
The one thing I'll say, though, is the one thing that we're really honing in on is ACL. Because you got to create a niche. And we've literally transferred our focus to that. No ACL injuries. I've rehabbed 2 meniscuses already.
Yeah.
2 ankles all day long because I have that DC technology now. And so.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because I actually watched your video on that yesterday.
It's made by a company called NewFit. NewFit is out of Austin, so it uses direct current stimulation. Okay.
It's almost like a TENS machine, but on steroids.
Yes. So a TENS machine, for all intents and purposes, uses an alternating contraction. Quad, contract real hard, hamstring. So it's going to go back and forth. It doesn't send a consistent signal to the site to create enough of a threshold value because I have to remain under a time under tension. So with the DC, the direct current by NewFit, it was originally created by Russians, right? So you have a frequency, right? It's like a wavelength frequency, right? The DC has to penetrate the epidermis layer, go to the site, talks to the neuromuscular system, tells these muscles to contract and relax, right? It's all stemming from the brain. But when they first created this, it would burn your skin. It was so fucking powerful.
Uh-huh.
NewFit came in and created this wavelength technology. So now it penetrates through here and somehow softens the blow, but doesn't reduce the effectiveness, penetrates the epidermis layer and talks to the neuromuscular system immediately. So when I use these based on application and, again, coming from where I came from, so if you look at the physical therapy world, they look at this connects to this connects to this. Where I came from, everything's fucking connected.
Yeah.
So a guy named Thomas Myers, so we look at things called longitudinal anatomy and how we can express movement through it. And everything's designed to express it through myofascial straps, just means muscle like lengths, and stations, bony stations, joint axis, and they cross over. That's how I hook people up, is based on movement patterning.
Yeah.
If there's a localized effort that we need to really get after, then so be it, right? So we use this because I can have you hold a contraction at a higher rate, in other words, break down muscle tissue, longer than your brain could ever tell you to do it. Mm-hmm. Without forcing it.
Yeah, mechanically, yeah.
So you have a register of a 1 frequency all the way up to 100. I have a recovery zone and I have a training zone, right? And then there's some things you can mess around with. I am not the technical guy. I'm this side, so I don't fuck with the machine at all. I'm like, you guys set it up, right? So I'm going to trust you on that part,
yeah.
Right? Then we run our parameters and it's good. I have never seen anything. So when I bought this, it's expensive, Jason.
Yeah.
$20,000.
Yeah.
I had to hire a medical director because I'm not a doctor, right? So I had to get somebody who trusted me, put me on their insurance in order to apply the service.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can't even sell the machine because it's a medical device.
Yeah.
So it's it's legit.
I've seen you use it, and I've seen one other person use it. She's a bodybuilder. She's competing.
So it's huge in bodybuilding, dude.
Yeah.
Huge.
Well, this girl, she worked out at Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
We became friends. We're friends on Instagram and everything. Super sweet girl, and she started competing, but she was skinny, right? And so goes out. Her first competition, and the number one thing that they said, which most girls have problems with, is when they're going to compete like that, is their lower body, is her glutes, her hamstrings, things like that.
I'll tell you a little bit about that when you're done.
Well, she's using that same machine. She does it on training, focusing specifically on like cable pull throughs, hamstring activation, glute, quad activation,
right.
and Oh my God!
Transformed her.
In a 4 month period of time, you went from having zero definition on her hamstrings and really glutes because she was just so small,
Right.
to now it looks like she went and got that Brazilian butt lift thing. I mean, she has legitimately transformed just with this technology and constantly having this little thing on her hips and her legs and everything. It's like it's unbelievable.
So when you use it, remember the body is just a big energy conduit, right? So
Yeah.
we are a response system that uses input,
Yeah.
right? Then output happens based on expressive movement, and it's all electricity. That's
Yeah.
all it is. So when you use this direct current, I'm like, I can like you literally, if I want your quad, right? So women traditionally have very strong VLs, right? Which is weird, and I'll explain that in a second. Rectus, pretty good. VMO, weak as fuck.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of the times the orthos get in this position where like, that needs to be stronger because that's why they blew their knee out. When in hindsight, if you take a bigger picture, it's yes, it would help. But they didn't have the hamstring and glute values along with the LPHC to involve the core to decelerate the movement so the knee got stuck in the middle and tore.
Right.
That's the real problem.
Yeah.
But my point of this is with the DC, so the direct current, I can literally tell your VMO, I want you to do everything. When you use movement, period, specifically gravity based, so it's going to be weights, your body will take that stress, I'm going to transfer it to the strongest area, doesn't matter. VL. So there was an analysis based on, and these are boys and girls, back squat, ollie bar. Box squat, or not a box squat, but like a belt squat with the eccentrics. Not only did they get bigger strength values, okay, their development, and these were soccer players, they shot better. So the quad, specifically the VL, vastus lateralis, the outside, that grew by like I think 8 to 10% or something like that. On the eccentrics, and again, I'm not saying eccentrics the brand name, I'm talking about yo-yo technology. It's called isoinertial training. The whole fucking quad grew by 12%. So if you're able to mitigate stress across a larger landscape,
Yeah.
your ability to express force is going to go up because now I'm involving more muscles.
Yeah.
So when you look at pull-throughs, squats, compound movements, it's a lot going on neuromuscular wise.
Yeah.
Isolation, very minimal central nervous stress. I can fucking curl it all day.
Yeah.
If you ever notice, if you see people curling, they're curling.
Yeah.
The brain's not involved. It doesn't have to focus, right? So there's not this intentful purpose for this to drive the movement because it's very remedial. It's
Yeah.
easy. But it creates a lot of stress and it's easy to grow that way. The minute you move into things that are more complex, within every muscle, you have a motor unit. You have sub-motor unit groups that talk when you create a pattern.
Yeah.
So when you have, and this is just based on the way that we move, especially if you have a decent training age. So if you look at training age means how experienced am I in the gym? Chronological, I'm on a timeline, doesn't fucking change. Biological, how quickly did you hit puberty?
Yeah.
These all influence our outcome and how to train them.
Yeah.
Okay? So with that, when I'm at this level, I have to learn how to move well. When I use weights, and I'm not negating weights, I love weights. You got to use them. You cannot develop the biomotor qualities as quickly and as efficiently as you can using this technology.
Yeah.
When I use it with the DC, get the fuck out of here. You're done. In a very healthy way. So not only have I been able to use this to increase performance values, these girls have no off season. And it's funny because in the doctor right now, I love arguing with these professors, it makes me laugh. You cannot use a traditional, what we call periodized model. In other words, a periodized model is just an undulating system in order to apply thresholds and value and stress, release a little bit, in other words, relax and go back up.
Right.
But that's over a traditional model where I have off seasons. My girls, which 60 of them, right, across the city, high school, 5 days a week, 2 games. I'm done. I'm going to go to club. There's no break. Two practices, privates, big tournaments, Chris. And I train them all year round. So during the season, school, because statistically what we're seeing is they get hurt more often there.
Yeah.
And I love that these coaches care. The problem is they throw shit against the wall and hope it sticks. It's not about the workout of the day. It's about the needs analysis of the athlete in the sport, right? So they put them under this amount of duress and they get hurt in there.
Yeah.
So what do? I play defense. We'll use eccentrics. We'll use Kaiser. We'll use weights. Specific needs, right? To make sure they have access to that ability because of what they produce. The newbie. And I literally go through weight training with body weight, with bands, and with adjustable dumbbells. Or I just put them on the table and let them recover.
Yeah.
But I can still command this to make this fucker contract harder for longer to get bigger and stronger. You don't got to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's not the fact that it's a $20,000 machine. This ain't a fucking $2,000 machine. It's a $20,000 machine.
Yeah.
And it works. White papers are like research papers, right? So they're peer reviewed, they've been documented. There's a little on them. So with that, we almost work with them on developing.
Well, I mean, even you have to,
because we don't know.
In reality,
theory.
when sports are when the things that start affecting sports is the things that it's the money side of it involved. You know, those the impact guns, percussion guns. They didn't blow up really big in the retail space and have a lot of it until the major sports, top sports adopted them and showed that there was actually some proof and some development in all those things. But that includes also obviously NCAA, things like that.
You know why that's so funny, Jason? They're supposed to be the top of the top.
Yeah.
And they're the most fucking narrow-minded people ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can pull you 10 articles right now on mechanical stimulation to reduce tension in the muscle based on 2 mechanical properties using a 2-minute gun per muscle group. Done. Finished.
But see, they don't.
See, why does it take you so long? Why did it take them so long to adopt it?
Because the money
fall outside of their physics. Training.
Well, for them, it also plays into the side of it. Okay, well, how are we gonna run this program with inside here? How are we gonna change these athletes' perspective on all this other stuff? And how do we now profit off all of this stuff? Because when you look in the MLB dugout, you look inside there. Of course, everybody's got one. I was watching, but they've got 10 of them sitting there in chargers. The NFL's the same exact way. So they got to look at these programs, but how they're going to profit off of them.
When you go NCAA, do me a favor next time. Look at girls and guys.
Yeah.
It's not the guys.
Yeah.
It's girls.
Yeah.
So when I pull all this research, right, there's a thing called a discussion, and all this is different points of view, different things that could be better, different things that were really worked well, and stuff like that, right? So it's like a collaboration of different thoughts.
Yeah.
What you traditionally see in there is, what could we have done better? What was the weakness? So when I pulled studies on nutrition, right, and I don't care if the girls diet. I don't want to talk about diet. I want to make sure you eat enough fucking food that you stay healthy, you're able to have access to all the things that we're training for, and you recover well, right? And those are all health markers.
Yeah.
It's called a meta-analysis, and that means there's a shit ton of research methods, and they studied all of them. 15-year-old Premier girls, right, volleyball, which is a high level, like club, like the team that we work with a lot, they're number 7 in the country, right? And they go all the way up to the professional level. And I pulled it where it had an analysis of all of them. Every single girl that stepped on the court was in a deficit of calories, so a caloric deficit of 1,100. 1,100. Jason, that's a lot.
That's insane.
1,100 calories. Every one of them were dehydrated. And there's a lot of things we can talk about that. It's not just about water.
Yeah.
But I was more concerned about the food.
Yeah.
I can't count on both hands and feet how many times I've had to stop a session over the past 18 months because of hypoglycemia.
Yeah.
And when you start diving in a very healthy way, because I work to develop relationships. I want to develop buy-in. I want you to know, like, I don't ask for trust, I'm going to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is the way that I was taught. And when I get there, they're going to be receptive to the things that we talk about. So when we have the metabolic cart, when we have things that are available in order to say, this is, like, when I hooked them up, I had a girl, unreal. She burns 2,700 calories without doing a fucking thing. So, are you eating that? She goes, well, no. I said, you better go find it.
Yeah.
That's to live.
Yeah.
Your BMR is a basal base of what your physiological process is required to live, to exist. Doesn't include you and me walking down those stairs. Doesn't include if you did yard work. That's a different thing. It's called NEAT. It's completely different.
Right.
So, I just want them to understand the substantive value that the amount of calories they need to perform well. And then you have other ones, and we live in an area or a time where we're social media influenced. You have these influencers that are on there. Oh, I eat 1,200 calories. No, the fuck you don't.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
Yeah.
Quit feeding bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'll call you out all day. They see this. And then there's a social pressure. And then they're also into this club sport, which is a $75 billion industry within the next 2 years. It's 35.5 right now. Youth sports.
Yeah.
So there's a hyper level of pressure, right, that they have to take. And all I mean by that is I'm working with all these girls that are really good. I have to compete at this level, not only because everybody else sees it, but my parents see it and I got to do it. So the club scene is very competitive. So you look at sports in general is supposed to help benefit kids.
Yeah.
But there's a void. And that's where I try to get ahead of on. And it's not to pound them on calories. It's I want you to have a healthy relationship with food. Fucking eat, please.
Yeah.
I don't care if you go eat McDonald's.
See,
go eat right now.
Growing up, obviously, like, skating 25 years ago, there was none of this technology. No. There was, and quite honestly,
there was less problems back then.
Well, yeah, we had a lot less.
I didn't have this, Jason. I was fine.
Yeah.
My sister didn't have it. She was okay.
Absolutely.
But what time is different.
What we did was, though, I mean, well, for us, there was, you have the opportunity to skate, you're going to skate. There's no secondary training. There's no weightlifting. There was no bike riding. Nothing. It was, hey, get on the track and skate. Get on the road and skate. Get in the rink and skate. Do all these activities. Yeah. And we never ever had the from I mean, at least from our team.
Yeah.
We never had. There was no thought whatsoever put into the auxiliary effects of all these other things to go out and do some weight training.
Mm-hmm.
There was no discussion whatsoever about the caloric intake. Man, we would go out and literally skate 20 and 30 kilometers and with one bottle of water, and expect that our bodies aren't going to start tearing apart.
Well, that's back when we didn't understand either, you know. And girls it's worse than us, dude.
Oh, of course. Well, you know, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Is
You have daughters?
I have one, yeah. But
So
you
real
take
quick on that study, dude.
Yeah.
50% of them that they polled said
Yeah.
they were trying to actively lose weight.
which is crazy.
And you know what they said in the discussion? We don't have the money to help. The fuck you don't.
Yeah.
Y'all, NCAA, have eclipsed $1 billion. You have a fund for athlete injury rehab of $79 million.
Yeah.
Now you have athletes that can be paid money. The emphasis will change quickly. And I think you're going to see a big one going to girls.
It should.
They are advertising like champions.
Well, you just
I don't
saw
see a lineman.
just from the NCAA basketball tournament.
Remember that, dude?
Yeah, where
Oh
they
my
showed
gosh.
the men's weightlifting room. There was probably about 20 different squat racks.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, it was unbelievable. He showed the women's
Hotel room.
Oh my God, it was ridiculous. It was like they had a set of dumbbells that went up to like 35 pounds.
Did you see their food?
It was ridiculous.
It was a table of donuts.
Yeah.
Buffet style.
Yeah.
You know? And I understand the economics. I went through the MBA. I get all that.
Of
I
course.
get it.
Yeah, you got to look at what money brings in from the sport and all that stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
I completely understand.
Sure.
What we hope, because again, our predominant market is girls, which is really funny. I have all those that I mentioned, and I have like 2 guys.
Yeah.
Beth, all guys,
Yeah.
and like 2 girls.
Yeah.
So it's a really funny, interesting.
Beth is a fucking beast.
Dude, I've worked with her for about 2.5 years now.
She's a monster, man.
Dude, when she came to me, she couldn't pick up her backpack.
Yeah. Oh, I saw. There was a video we watched. I watched a video not too long ago where you just see these rippling muscles across her top of her chest and her shoulders.
Right.
Unbelievable.
So
But what I was going to say is about the girls is it's you know, physiologically people when it comes to athleticism in a woman versus a man, you know, it's not 1-to-1. You know, you take a guy just from a lean perspective, a guy like Quentin who gets completely super lean. He could be anywhere between like 1% and like 4% body fat on a given day, right? He's fucking lean. Skin's like paper, you know, where you can see every muscle fiber through his body. You take a female at her absolute leanest, she might possibly be able to get down to like 6. I mean, and that's lost complete every ounce of body fat whatsoever.
And you'll see that in what we call the aesthetic world.
Yeah.
You will never see that on a sports performance platform.
No,
Because
shouldn't.
Well, you can't in order to sustain like qualities.
Yeah.
Even guys.
You can't compete every night. You can't jump up and down every single day. You can't.
Like the things that Quentin would go through, which I respect, because he's literally what I loved about him is he used himself as an experiment.
Yeah.
He would literally record what he ate, write everything down, go to bed, figure out what it did to him, and then recourse correct. So that's uses itself as like an own anecdotal experiment.
Yeah.
But in sports performance, it's a fueling strategy. It's not.
It's fuel. That's it.
That's all it is. And the minute that they begin to understand, and what I've started to put into this new dissertation, because my dissertation's on using different resistance profiles, so like Kaiser, eccentrics, and just weight. How will these augment better adaptations to help offset the ACL injury? Right? Because there's nothing that's studying that just yet. Remember, 18,000 articles, tons of peer-reviewed suggestions. Why in the fuck do we keep seeing this?
Yeah.
So we have to figure out something here. But then when I got into that nutrition class and I started pulling all that, so I know if my physical state of readiness is compromised, as an athlete, I'm still going to try to push everything that I have, even if my body's not there, right? We have a governor.
Yeah.
It will put it into place. But what we see a lot of is when they begin to get tired, it's called cognitive awareness. And in sport, that's being able to identify, say, the ball in space and be able to react to the seconds notice, right? Change of direction, deceleration, acceleration, whatever it is.
Right.
When that is the first thing that erodes, Jason, when they get tired. That is the first quality. So we do a lot of things that
Yeah, your brain starts to shut down, of course.
glycogen.
Yeah.
I know we have these
Your body
guys
doesn't-
adaptive. I can use peanut butter.
No,
Your fucking brain is turning. Your body's literally turning into glycogen.
Your body does not need your brain to live. It doesn't. Your body needs a lot of other stuff, but your brain doesn't have to physically be on for you to be alive.
But with the athletic piece, remember everything. This is like your command center, right? So I'm literally writing software, hardware, right? So we have hardware. I'm installing new software to make myself better.
Right.
The minute this cannot register quick enough,
Yeah.
because this commands speed based
Yeah.
on our CNS and our fascial system, that's when we saw these qualities erode. So say I have to go up and I'm going to hit, and it's a dynamic play. Then all of a sudden I got to land. And a lot of the times, we don't want them to land on two legs.
Yeah.
But my responsibility is to make sure if you do, I'm going to put you in the best position possible.
Yeah.
If you get hurt, we get out of it quicker. I just want to make you as resilient as I can. Statistically, they land on one leg probably like 78% of the time, right?
Yeah.
But when you begin to erode here,
Yeah.
my ability to recognize and develop high levels of rate coding, in other words, movement patterns like literacy,
Yeah.
that's when I get hurt. Right? That is literally when I get hurt. And if we look at readiness state with nutrition, and again, it's not nutrition, it's just fucking drink water, it's not even the water with them. I'm more focused on sodium content.
Yes.
Because on a sweat rate
You
analysis,
got to retain.
well, they lose it.
Yeah.
Right? And water will sit in your stomach. And I learned this doing Ironman. So literally, I was my own experiment. If you don't have sodium in the necessary electrolytes, specifically sodium, to pull it through the gut lining,
right,
osmolality, go to the blood, go to the muscles, it just sits there.
Right.
So we go over that a lot as far as like what's to use. And it's nothing complicated. My big one with them is like, dude, what did you eat today? How much have you eaten? How many calories you have?
Right.
It's just so they are in a position where I'm not getting to college. And when you get there, unfortunately, I need you to lose 20 pounds right now. Because these sports are power to weight ratio. The heavier you are, and if I'm carrying more body fat, traditionally women do.
Yeah.
I got to have a lot more fucking power to take my ass off the ground.
Absolutely.
I got to have more strength available to move myself forward, right? So it's called power to weight ratio. The leaner they are, and again, it's not aesthetic leaning, it's leaning athletically. So 20 to 24% is normal for them, and really fucking good.
Yeah.
You get there, we're solid. We're solid. They move well, they have more muscle than they do body fat, and a lot of them that we begin to work with in the beginning, the minute they ate more, they lost weight.
Yeah.
So even when we have to revisit these conversations, and I have a lot that I'm really close with, I'm like, look, dude, do you want to send your fucking pictures of your food again to me every day? No.
Yeah.
Well, then I know you're not eating because you just told me you ate 400 calories.
Right.
And it's 7 at night.
Right.
You're 173 pounds and one of the top players in the city.
Yeah.
Fucking eat.
Yeah.
I'm saying fucking, like I'm very,
Of course.
But eat, please. And I have these conversations.
Well, that's exactly what I told that guy today when he was asking me about it. He's like, well, okay, do I just cut out calories? I said, no. Your body has, you need to eat. You have to eat. You have to fuel your body to be able to gain.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yes, of course.
Burn too. That's what people don't think. They think the mantra, let me do more work.
Yeah.
Eat less food.
No.
It is the antithesis of.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight.
Right.
How I build those values based on macro intake is very important.
Yeah.
Fat is a important value to improve aerobic health.
Right.
Cardiorespiratory recovery.
Yes.
Hormonal values. Carbohydrates are exercise intensity. It's a chemistry insulin response based on muscle adaptations to recover.
Right.
So it's like everybody's a little different. And that's where that really it helps.
Yeah.
And it was for the girls not to here's a diet. This is just telling me with you not playing and doing anything, you burn 25.
Right.
Did you find it today? No. Well, we better go find it.
Yeah, just walking around. Just walking around on a daily basis. You people don't realize what you burn.
Require energy.
Yeah.
And based on our training,
it can't just be coming through caffeine.
No. Based on our training, so there's a thing called movement personalities.
Yeah.
Right. So based on that, how I like to work out will influence my metabolic output. So in other words, if I'm a bodybuilder guy, I'll have a decent metabolic output.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna have more muscle, it costs more energy, right? Now, the speed or the rate in which it consumes calories varies upon person.
Yeah.
If I'm a power lifter, I'm burning that motherfucker slow.
Yeah.
Why is that? I'm going to have 1 to 5 reps, and I'm going to rest for 5 minutes. There's not a big epoch value, excess post-oxygen consumption, right? So I'm not getting into this big oxygen debt. That's when I burn calories.
Yeah.
So the training influences that part as well. Like volleyball, it's go.
Nonstop.
6 seconds. Recovery is 13.
Right.
That's that's fucking Tabata training all fucking day long.
Yeah.
And thank God Dr. Tabata out of Japan, but dude, it's hard.
Yeah.
But the minute you show them,
I hate Tabatas.
it's funny. It's the parents.
Yeah.
And that's not their fault. They're just learned what they knew. And it's funny because I'll use this thing called a TDEE calculator, total daily energy expenditure. You can use it.
Mm-hmm.
TDEE.com, literally. And you go in, this is how much I weigh, this is my age, this is how much I exercise, this is my body fat. It's alternative value, you don't have to put it. And it can say, I want to lose weight, maintain, or bulk.
Yeah.
Low carb, moderate carb, high carb. And I literally just use that, which is a very easy process to show them. And it's pretty spot on. Like your sports nutritionists will use it, your aesthetic guys will use it if they know how. Like they'll use it. And when they see this number, just on that, they're like, fuck, go eat all the Chick-fil-A you want to.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when the parents hear that, like, are you sure? I'm like, promise you,
Yeah.
they're not going to put on fat. She just trained for 4 hours.
Yeah.
What they do a lot of the time is they project on the way that they grew up and how they are. So what I tried to explain to them, I said, guys, they're athletes. We're going to treat them as such.
Big
It's
difference.
a fueling strategy.
Yeah.
And when I tell them this story, it's really funny. So there's two of them I like to use. When I went to Rio for the Olympics, we got to go to Athletes Village. Awesome food I ate. You know where those fuckers were? McDonald's.
Yeah.
Going out the door.
Yeah.
Because it's high caloric value and
Yeah.
I get to use it real quick. Matt Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Rich Froning, he's the #1 CrossFit athlete on the planet.
Yeah.
X amount of years running.
Yeah, he's a monster.
You know what he eats in between events? Big Macs.
Yeah, fast food.
Because it's high caloric value.
Hey, just on a side note, I didn't do it. I didn't work out yesterday because I went to watch the Astros. But very specifically yesterday, I ate McDonald's. I ate a Big Mac and I ate 2 large fries.
Yeah.
Because what I do is my goal is 195 and like 8% body fat. That keeps me where I want to be.
Right.
But I have to have a massive amount of carbs
Yeah.
before I go lift. Because like the other day I did tire flips. And it's 100, it doesn't sound like a lot. It's 175 pound, 176 pound tire. Mm-hmm. And I would do sets of 10.
Right.
I did 6 sets of 10 with 2 minutes of rest in between sets.
Okay.
Dude, that's burning through almost every ounce of carbohydrates and calorie that I could have consumed in the entire day. Oh, yeah. And I still went through the rest of the day. I still went through the rest of the workout and I did right at 50,000 pound volume of chest.
Oh, so you're tracking total tonnage, like the amount of...
Yeah, I track it on this app that I use. But I went back through, like when Robert and I were tracking everything, that same app. What I've started to do is I eat a huge carb intense lunch, something big for lunch. And then I also actually, with my pre-workout, I take Carbolin.
Oh, dude, it's waxy maize.
Yeah.
It's an amazing bioengineered starch. So what a lot of people forget is, and again, because you have so many different camps, so many different ideologies, in the vibe of your tribe attracts the communal aspect. So you always want to believe in something and you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself. So people buy into this particular perspective really fucking quick.
Yeah.
So paleo, so vegan, like I can go off on all this shit all day long.
Yeah,
right?
Fuck all that stuff.
But for intensive purposes, and then we have these arguments with these, I'm fat adaptive. Okay. I can show you all these different analysis where glycogen is fucking king. You gotta use it.
Yeah.
The larger the carb volume that is available for you, you have chemical and mechanical processes that take place within the muscle.
Yeah.
This facilitates it because it's the easiest thing to turn into ATP, which is usable energy. Fat takes too long.
Yep.
Protein is the walk of life. You're not going to use. It's not as effective.
Right.
It's carbs.
Yep.
So when I talk to those parents, I'm like, I want them eating gummy bears in between the games.
Yes.
Sour Patch Kids. Right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
They're not going to put on fat, but they're going to have an immediate available of carbohydrates, energy that they need right this second.
I have a massive bag of gummy bears.
Yeah. That's how I trained for Ironman, dude.
Yeah.
I had to experiment on myself because I was a larger, more muscular Ironman guy, right? They're tiny guys.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually got a good friend of mine also from my time with TDC that he just competed in Ironman in Waco.
Oh, the 70.3?
Yeah.
That's a great race.
Yeah, I think his total time was like 16 hours. It's his first one.
On the half? He's probably a little less than that.
Well, whatever I saw was
they
like
do have a full and they have half. So they do have both.
So it was, I mean, he did it was, I forgot how long.
So the swim is 2.4.
Yeah, 2.4
The bike is 112.
Right, and then
full marathon.
Full marathon.
That's the full.
Yeah, he did all that.
So he did that.
Yeah.
Did you ask him how you like Cameron Park?
I honestly haven't talked to him yet. He's still recovering. Yeah.
Cameron Park's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So we went last year, 2 years ago before COVID and all that, to do that one, and that's right when I left 24. The water temp was 53.
Oh, fuck that.
Fuck, dude. When I had to do that in the military, I was in a Gumby suit, dude.
Yeah.
I was fucking getting sick.
Yeah.
Angel, God bless her, is a fucking trooper. She did it. Not only did she get in that water, swam the 2.4, and did a really good pace, about an hour and 17, which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
Got onto the bike, got pneumonia.
Like that.
Dude, right when we were done, she was done.
Yeah.
Right, it was right when. Because you're wet, and it's cold, wind, right? Not only that, blood diverts to certain muscles that are working the most. It's not the upper body on the bike, it's the lower.
Yeah.
So my temperature values change up top. She got sick just like that, dude. You know? But, so my whole point is, they have to adopt a fueling strategy on that with the girls.
Yeah.
You know, when you see these analysis where they're under eating by 11, when I tell parents this, and they're doctors, they're like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "I'll pull it and show you." And what's nice about being in the position that I'm at, because I'm a fanatic about learning, and I'm in that doctorate, I could literally talk to them on the same level that they are, and they're like, "Where'd you pull this?" And I'll say, "This journal," and they'll go pull it, like, "Oh God," you know, because they're in the medical profession, so they can research and look things up. So it's not about regurgitating a bunch of like mindless shit. It's literally applicable and they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing some cool behavior changes with them, you know? So when we first started introducing this, it was more of,
Well, there's a cognitive increase as well.
they need food, they need sugar, dude.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That is literally the first thing that goes away.
Yeah.
The first thing, and we see the most amount of injuries typically happen later on in the sets.
Well, let's be clear. The reason for the gummy bears and the reason for the Sour Patch Kids is because it's actually natural cane sugar. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
you convert it real easy.
right. It's not.
Really
It's not. It's not. The processed sugars and things like that. That's ironic part about gummy bears and the Sour Patch Kids is it is natural cane sugar.
And they're fantastic. And the funny thing too is like in triathlon, everything is sweet.
Yeah.
Bro, when I was on the bike training, I was eating like 7 to 8 Smuckers.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm tired of fucking sweet peanut butter and all this shit. That's when I started doing pickle juice and Sour Patch Kids.
I love pickle juice.
Oh, they were amazing, dude. Amazing. So I had to practice all these different strategies and see how it would work.
Yeah.
Because being the size that I was bigger, right? So when I was alluding to when you look at training and how it influences metabolic output.
Yeah.
Before I did my resting, almost 3,000. Afterwards, 22. Like this is almost 4 stars. This was like 3,500. Because all I did was hit. I would lift, go do something, lift, go do something. I was always moving the whole time. Then I got into triathlon, which is an endurance predicated sport. So you slow things down, you become efficient, and we always correlate the word efficiency for better. I want to be very inefficient about burning calories because I want to crush them as fast as I can. It's where the HIIT training, and honestly, resistance training was the original form of HIIT.
Yeah.
I'm going to do 8 to 12 reps, I'm going to rest. I'm going to do it again, usually about 30 seconds. But my metabolism literally went down.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that world with the ladies I have, some of them are about to turn pro. It's not about eating more food because they're so slow. It's about just having the right amount at the time that they're training, not outside of training, right? It's just during training.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times what they'll do when they get into the sport, guys and girls, they use it as an excuse to eat more. So now they have this massive surplus and you don't burn that much in training, dude. Everybody thinks you do. You don't.
No.
No. So if you looked at someone who did HIIT, tire flips, right? Equal volume on this person on the treadmill. They'll burn more during this prescribed time of say 20 minutes, but you're going to crush them afterwards.
Absolutely. Because I continue to go.
Endurance.
Yeah.
It's going to go
Yeah.
right down.
That's
Down.
Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, literally the other day, we're sitting outside watching his daughter play football. We're sitting right next to each other, and because of my activity, because of how my body is structured, we're literally sitting there in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
I am dripping in sweat because my metabolism. I'm a sprinter.
Yeah.
He was a long distance guy. Metabolically, we are so far fucking apart, and we are literally sitting there and right next to each other in the same exact spot, and I am dripping in sweat because my metabolism is like it's doing this, and his is just.
That and think of this, because I studied this right when I was doing all these long events, and I had to study a lot of different disciplines to understand how I can make it work.
Yeah.
There's a company called Complete Athlete. The name of their program is called the Hybrid Athlete.
Okay.
Okay, and I forget the name of the company. They're really good, right? They came from the strength world. Actually, Juggernaut. Juggernaut's like one of the top, like they're well respected in powerlifting. Well respected. They created a multi-discipline training program that integrated strength and endurance because in endurance, especially long course athletes, the coaches hate this, right? Oh, you're gonna get bigger. No, you're not, dude. It's not possible. Like you can't get bigger because there's an adaptation process. There's a hierarchy of events. If I'm doing 12 hours of endurance training and I'm doing literally 40 minutes total of strength, what am I going to adapt to?
Yeah.
Endurance, like stuff kind of higher number. What they did is they created a model, and the reason I'm referring to this is you have more muscle. Per square millimeter, you generate X amount of heat. That's why, for us, having more muscle, we're worse off than a person that's fatter.
Yeah.
They don't generate as much heat. They think they do. No, you're just chronically inflamed.
Yeah.
Muscle creates heat. So when we would do zone training, because we look at zones 1 through 5, and you're looking at heart rate based on these percentage models, like, hey man, I need you to be in zone 1. I said, I know this because I've literally taught people how to do this metabolic analysis. I'm fucking walking.
Yeah.
Because I heat up so fast here in Texas.
Yes.
Zone 1's this.
Yeah.
Zone 2 is this.
Yeah.
Zone 3 still. Now when they're like, I want you to pick it up, then I can go. Because
Yeah.
everything was on a heart rate value. Heart rate and heat, they'll go the same way. The hotter I am, the more my heart has to pump the blood to create a sweating response, right? So I speed it up. And with so much muscle mass per square millimeter, we produce X amount of heat. And I'll send you the thing. It's really interesting, dude.
And that's
Compound
literally
human performance.
literally translates to being like I said, a sprinter versus an endurance person. Yes, I am physically larger than he is. I'm an inch taller, but I'm about 30 pounds heavier, almost pure muscle heavier. Our body fat percentage is almost the same. We do this, and yes, because of the way I heat up like this, but at the same time, my explosiveness is like this.
You have access.
But then it goes, dude.
Endurance wise.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a training adaptation, right? So it's really funny because when you look at power sports, and I'll have to go here.
Yeah, as I say, yeah, we
Power
gotta.
sports, you have 1 rep maxes, right? And everybody loves that. It's
Yeah.
this coveted number.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean a fucking thing.
Doesn't.
In power sports, nothing.
Nothing.
If I'm a lineman and I got to move another fat lineman, yes, because I need to generate that much force in a very small period of time.
Right.
For power sports, though, it's a repetition, right? So how much and at what level, in other words, quality and value, can I maintain on the max amount of power output?
Yeah.
So with them, all I use is body weight, right? So body weight relativity. So it's funny because you can actually, the reason I mention this is you wouldn't lose 1 rep max value if I transitioned you into relative strength and made you increase the volume and decrease the rest. You get a bigger performance engine. You're going to actually get bigger muscle-wise because it's a new stimulus. Your 1 rep max, your absolute strength, there will be a linear relationship. Is it going to be as quick if I focused on this? No. Right. But it's cool because the more I can lift my relative value, my absolute value goes up, you know? And that's what we focus, even with my adults, like 1 rep max is cool.
Yeah.
The last time I did one of those, like you, took this all the way down to here, ripped all the way open. And I was like,
yeah. I don't do it anymore.
Never did.
No, I'm not concerned with. Look, I know I can deadlift 500 pounds. I know I can back squat 450 pounds. What good's it going to do me? 1 rep max does absolutely no good for me anymore. But
me, dude, if you don't do this for me, do 4 weeks. Do nothing but relative values.
Oh, that's all I've done now.
Increase speed, right? Rate
yes.
coding, right? Decrease rest periods.
Yes.
Look at different ways that we can change tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Guarantee your absolute strength goes up.
I've actually done that. What I started doing with all exercises, everything across the board, was I dropped it all down to about 50 to 60% of that 1 reps max area.
That's called velocity training.
Yeah, and then all I'm doing is anywhere between 10 and 15 reps per set, knocking the rest down to about a minute between sets, things like that, and just running it that way. Because that for me that's functional. That's functional.
You want to be able to express strength in different qualities.
Yeah.
So, cause you're like kind of like feel like you don't mind setting up a bunch of stuff, right? Because it's easy. It's easier for you, and I see that in the videos.
Yeah.
Pick one thing that's heavy as fuck. That's one time.
Yeah.
Then go to accessory values. Then go to condition values. Then go to a rest value. Then come back. Each one of them have different CNS responses, different metabolic demands, and you won't lose this.
Well, see,
you don't lose it at all.
I don't do.
I got to push through you, move, cut, change, go.
See, I don't do a full day. Like I said, I do a leg day. Every day is some kind of lower body exercise. One exercise, like a leg press or a front squat or deadlift or something like that. And then I go do the upper body part. I'll go do, like the other day I did. Yeah, I did tire flips and then I did chest. Right. Then like today I'll probably do like some front squats and I'll do back.
Front and back. Okay.
So
you don't like to mix like quad hamstring?
I won't do two lower body parts in the same day anymore.
Okay.
I was draining myself. I was wearing myself out. So
well, because you were fucking training 1,000,000 pounds, dude, I got pissed.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, hey Chris, we'll call it quits right here, man. We're good. We're good, man. This is man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, man, thank you.
Get into the military stuff,
no, hey, man, next time. We need to have warrior episodes. What we're gonna do.
Okay.
All right.
No, those are fun
yeah.
Dude.
All right, man. Thank you so much.